multiple worlds collecting cards from Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 251, Gambling Against the Golden Emperor. Bakura secretly pressed a ring on his middle finger. No one noticed it, except Chen Tian, who had been using his observation haki. Although Chen Tian noticed Bakura's action, he smiled and pretended not to see it. He came here just to cause trouble. Wouldn't it be great if the other party took the initiative? He didn't come here to gamble, because he liked gambling. From the beginning, he wanted to make Tesoro unable to sit still and jump out. Sure enough, a figure appeared in the VIP room the next moment. Welcome the newest carder from the Don Quixote family to the big Tesoro. I have to say that your luck is really good. It only took 4 games to turn 100 million baileys into 16 baileys. Tesoro walked directly to the opposite side of Chen Tian and sat down. At this moment, Chen Tian was secretly glad that Robin personally made up for him and disguised himself when he went out. Otherwise he would have been exposed long ago. If Tesoro had seen his appearance when he came in, he probably wouldn't even be able to see his shadow now. Seeing Chen Tian's interested eyes, Tesoro smiled and continued, I forgot my introduction. I'm the owner of this ship, Golden Emperor Tesoro, and I'm an old acquaintance of your young master. When he said the 3 words Golden Emperor, Tesoro's voice was much higher, and he seemed a little superior. Nami and Robin looked at Tesoro showing off his status in front of Chen Tian, and they both forced themselves to hold back their laughter, fearing that they would scare Tesoro. Open your eyes and take a good look. The man sitting in front of you is one of the overlords of the sea, one of the 4 emperors of the new world. Where do you get the courage to show off your status in front of such a person? Unfortunately, Tesoro couldn't hear the thoughts of Nami and Robin, and still said to himself, your luck is so good, I can't help it. Why don't we have a bet? If you win, the chips will be doubled directly. If you lose, there is no loss. Anyway, Bailey didn't fall into your hands. Perhaps afraid that Chen Tian would not agree, Tesoro pretended to continue. I own 20% of the world's wealth. Money is just a simple number to me. In addition, you are a carder of the Don Quixote family, so I have to take care of you at least. When he said this, although it was well hidden, there was a chill in Tesoro's eyes. Money is indeed just a number to him, but it is also his, and he doesn't want to give it to others just like that. Some people say that the richer the person, the more stingy he is. Tesoro is such a person. He is not a generous person. Especially for people with lower status and position than him, there is no meaning of generosity at all. Not to mention the lost money, there is no use value at all. It is simply a waste. Is that so? If I win, then these 1.6 billion baileys will immediately become 3.2 billion baileys, which is indeed a huge fortune. In this case, I'll bet with you. Chen Tian played with a chip in his hand, and then pushed all the chips to the even number, saying, since I've won so many times by betting on even numbers, then all these 1.6 billion baileys will be bet on even numbers. A full 1.6 billion baileys bet at once, even on the Great Tesoro, is rare. In addition, the Golden Emperor Tesoro is here, so all the VIPs in the room have their eyes on this place. They want to know what the end of Chen Tian will be, whether he will win or lose everything, or even lose his life. The world's largest consumer treasury, to be the owner here, Tesoro is really a cannibal. Ah, my foot is sprained. At this moment, Bakura exclaimed, and the whole person suddenly threw himself into Chen Tian's arms. The last time he used the lucky fruit, it didn't work, but Bakura would not just give up. This time, she fell directly into Chen Tian's arms, draining all of Chen Tian's luck. She didn't believe that Chen Tian could continue to win. Seeing this beautiful woman falling into his arms, Chen Tian couldn't help swallowing his saliva. But before he could say anything, a powerful force suddenly came from his side and pushed Bakura out directly. And this force was very well controlled. It pushed Bakura away without affecting Chen Tian at all. Please respect yourself, Robin said with his hands on his chest, looking unhappy. I have raised him from the age of 8 to now, and it has been 15 or 16 years and I haven't eaten him yet. What do you want to do, woman? At this time, Chen Tian also looked up at Tesoro and said, "My subordinate has a bad temper. After I win, I can take out half of the Bailey to compensate Miss Baccarat. Half of 3.2 billion Bailey is 1.6 billion Bailey, which means that he won in vain. Of course there is no problem, but the premise is that you can win." Tesoro did not pursue Chen Tian's plan at this time. Baccarat had already stood up and was not hurt. Robin's power was perfectly controlled. Moreover, for the face of the Don Quixote family, even if he was ready to resist, it was not good to slap the other party in the face in public. After all, Doflamingo was not easy to deal with, and he was not fully prepared yet. However, if Chen Tian lost all the 1.6 billion here, with Doflamingo's character, he would never let Chen Tian and the other two go. At that time, Chen Tian and the other three would naturally pay the heaviest price for what they did. After getting Tesoro's signal, Day continued to hold the stone axe and knock the dice cup open with his head. At this moment, time seemed to slow down, and the sound of the dice falling to the ground was extremely clear. Many people stretched their necks, wanting to see the points of the two dice inside quickly. Chapter 252 Shameless Tesoro. But Chen Tian didn't even look at it, but just said in a relaxed tone, 2 and 6, even numbers. My luck is pretty good. I really appreciate the generosity of the Golden Emperor. In addition to the 1.6 billion baileys to compensate Baccarat, I will accept the rest. After casually piling the chips aside, Chen Tian frowned and said with sudden realization, "By the way, I still have to repay the 100 million baileys I borrowed at the beginning. Now there are only 1.5 billion baileys left, which is a bit too little." Hehehe. A sinister and cold laugh came from Tesoro's throat, which made people shudder. Then he said in this voice, "A new Carder of the Don Quixote family, right? Do you know what the consequences will be if you cheat with me and in front of me?" Seeing Chen Tian's still relaxed face, Tesoro's voice became even colder. "Even your young master Doflamingo, he can't protect you. A new Carder on this big Tesoro. PFFT. Sorry, I just can't help it." Nami waved her hands repeatedly, holding her stomach weakly to hold back her laughter. This Tesoro is really interesting. From the beginning, he wanted Chen Tian to lose, and then he was dealt with by Doflamingo. After Chen Tian won, he couldn't help but jump out and threaten Chen Tian to bet with him, still wanting Chen Tian to lose. But after all these failed, he started to explode in anger. Nami, who grew up in the Bankai Pirates, has long been accustomed to the behavior of the people around her, and she has really never seen such a thing. For the Bankai Pirates, there are not so many intrigues. They fight when they should fight, and kill when they should kill. They are too lazy to play these little tricks with others. Today, Nami has opened her eyes. It's really funny that such a cowardly and foolish person can call himself the Golden Emperor. Looking at Nami's appearance, Tesoro's face became even uglier. Unfortunately, Chen Tian did not let him speak, and said first, "I don't quite understand what the Golden Emperor said. Did I move in the whole process? It's just luck." Glancing at Tesoro with disdain, Chen Tian continued, "To be honest, the Golden Emperor doesn't need to be like this. It's just 1.5 billion baileys. It's not an astronomical figure for others, and it's even a drop in the bucket for you, the Golden Emperor." After speaking, Chen Tian slowly stood up. His half-smiled look highlighted a casual feeling. In other words, he didn't take the Golden Emperor Tesoro seriously at all. A person who only knows how to make money with the golden fruit, and who doesn't even have enough attainments in the three-color domineering, is no different from an ant in front of him. As long as he wants, he can stretch out a finger at any time and pinch him to death. With wealth, means, and the ability to buy off the world's noble celestial dragons, Tesoro is indeed a big shot. But he doesn't have enough courage, and only knows some conspiracies. Of course, these are not the main problems. The real key lies in his strength. In Chen Tian's opinion, it is really too weak. His own strength is very average. At best, he can barely be regarded as a general. And the strength of his subordinates is even worse. Among the three Carders, only Baccarat's lucky fruit is quite good, but his combat ability is also a mess. The other two Carders are simply two wastes, with no value at all. 5 consecutive 2s and 6s. Do you want to explain this completely with your good luck? Tesoro also stood up at this time, looking directly at Chen Tian and said, "My subordinate Bakura is a lucky fruit ability user. She can absorb other people's luck. Just now, your luck has been completely drained. You can still win under such circumstances. Isn't it because you are cheating?" Hearing this, Chen Tian was stunned for a moment. Isn't this a bit too open and above board? Aren't you cheating? Why can you say it so confidently? When accusing others of cheating, he also mentioned the power of the lucky fruit. There must be something wrong with Tesoro's brain. If I remember correctly, someone once said that the absolute rule in this city is that people who are cheated here are losers. So whether I cheated or not, it doesn't matter, right? Chen Tian didn't care about Tesoro and spoke directly. He wanted to see how shameless this Tesoro could be. He knew that in this VIP room, Tesoro used the power of Bakura's lucky fruit to cheat countless people, and many of those people were famous pirates in the new world. Didn't that guy Doflamingo tell you that there is another absolute rule in this city? Tesoro didn't want to care about the face of the Don Quixote family at this time. After all, he was just a new cadre. Even if he killed the other party, would Doflamingo go to war with him? So he glared and said arrogantly, "That rule is that I'm the absolute rule, and I'm the god of this city." Good guy. Chen Tian saw Tesoro's current performance, which was always a bit annoying. How ignorant are you to dare to say such a thing? You have seen many strong people. Why can you compare with Enel at that time? There will always be some arrogant guys who call themselves that. Tesoro, money and power make you completely unable to recognize yourself. People should have self-knowledge. Chen Tian smiled and continued, "I'll give you a chance. Take out 15 devil fruits now, and I will leave here. How about you continue to be your god?" This is already Chen Tian's greatest kindness. Before coming here, he planned not to leave a penny for Tesoro. If Robin hadn't secretly told him before that Tesoro was very similar to the old boatman's son, Chen Tian would have taken action long ago. Later, Chen Tian also compared it carefully and found that Tesoro was the son that the old boatman asked him to find. No wonder the Wanji pirates have been looking for so long, but haven't found him. It turns out that the other party is also a big shot. Therefore, Chen Tian decided that, as long as Tesoro knows what's good for him, he won't exploit him. For Tesoro, 15 devil fruits are nothing. If the old boatman knew that his small boat could hold so much wealth of Tesoro, he would be very pleased, right? At this time, several Navy officers suddenly walked into the VIP room, including the Navy Vice Admiral Teo too. She didn't quite understand the current situation, but after a round of observation, she locked her eyes on Chen Tian. After watching carefully for a while, Toyota suddenly prepared for a fight and held the hilt of the knife with his right hand and asked coldly, "Why are you here?" Seeing Toyota's nervous look, Chen Tian knew that he was exposed and was injured by the other party. Helplessly shaking his shoulders, he said, "Lieutenant General Toyoto, it's been a long time since we last met. The last time we met was 5 years ago, right? But your appearance like this really caught me off guard. After all, no one else here knows me except you. Can you help me keep this secret?" Hearing this, Toyoto's face became more solemn. She didn't know what Chen Tian wanted to do here, but she knew very well how dangerous he was. What on earth do you want to do? 4 Emperors Chen Tian. Chapter 253 Two Choices. 4 Emperors, Chen Tian. When Toyota called out this name, everyone's face changed, shocked, afraid, unbelievable. Such expressions appeared on the faces of those present, because they had all heard of this name, and they all knew what this name meant. It was a powerful force far superior to the Golden City, and in the New World, it was beneficial to the top predators. One of the 4 emperors, the king of the Wanji pirates. He once completely suppressed the big mob pirates, one of the previous 4 emperors, and not long ago, he defeated the powerful figure of Kaido, one of the current 4 emperors. Such a person actually appeared on the Big Tesoro, and as a cadre of the Don Quixote family? What was going on? Tesoro was also confused at this time. He knew Toyota would not joke at this time, so he followed a man with long black hair, the powerful emperor. But he couldn't figure out why the other party appeared here as a new cadre of the Don Quixote family. If the other party had come to reveal his identity, he would have been worshipped as a Buddha no matter what, and there would be no such situation now. Wait a minute. Devil fruit? Thinking of this, Tesoro finally understood something. The Wanji pirates have been buying devil fruits in large quantities in the past few years, and he just received 15 devil fruits not long ago. In addition, the other party just mentioned that he wanted him to hand over the devil fruits he received, so it can be judged that this one of the 4 emperors came for the devil fruits. But this made Tesoro even more depressed. You, a 4 emperor, want a devil fruit, can't you just say it directly? We can make a deal, and if it doesn't work, I can give it to you. Why do you do this? Lieutenant General Teo 2, you are very boring like this. Didn't you see how arrogant Tesoro was just now? If there is such a show, you have to let everyone know that I'm here. Doesn't it become boring instantly? Chen Tian shrugged his shoulders and took Nami and Robin to the second floor with boredom and found a comfortable seat to sit down. Chen Tian, what do you want to do? Tesoro turned around suddenly and looked at Chen Tian, who was drinking tea, his eyes almost spurting out flames. He felt extremely humiliated now because the whole process was like a clown being played by Chen Tian, and he was the ridiculous clown. He didn't like this feeling, or should I say, he hated it very much. At first I just wanted some devil fruits and Bailey, but now I've changed my mind. Chen Tian really stood up this time, with one hand on the hilt of the long sword at his waist, and chuckled and said, I'll give you 2 choices, Tesoro. The first one is to take your golden city and your men, and belong to my Wanji pirates. In this way, I won't care about what happened today, and you can enjoy the protection of the Wanji pirates in the future. It can be said to be a win-win situation. The second one is to hand over half of your wealth, whether it is Bailey, devil fruits, or anything else. I want them all. Otherwise, today, the big Tesoro will probably have to remain silent in the sea. Giving these 2 choices is Chen Tian's true thoughts at the moment. As for how Doflamingo wants to gain benefits, it has nothing to do with Chen Tian. At the same time, when giving these 2 choices, Chen Tian was also very clear about one thing, that is, Tesoro would never choose the first one. Because he has enough ambitions, and there are too many forces related to the Golden City. If he joins the 10,000 Worlds Pirates, he will offend the entire world government, and directly offend the Celestial Dragons. Don't forget what happened in the Sabaody Archipelago 5 years ago. Belmer under Chen Tian killed a Celestial Dragon. As for the second choice, it depends on Tesoro himself. His wealth is an astronomical figure that anyone would be jealous of. Half of Tesoro, who is said to occupy 20% of the world's wealth, is 10% of the world's wealth, which can be said to be very huge. Chen Tian, you bastard. Tesoro was so angry that he was shaking all over. You are too naive to think that you can take away everything I have worked so hard to accumulate so easily. Chen Tian, if it were in the Wanji continent, I would never be your enemy. Even if it was half of my wealth, I would give it to you without hesitation. But unfortunately you chose the wrong place. This is the Great Tesoro, my city. Everything in this city is under my control. The moment the words fell, Tesoro opened his hands suddenly, and the gold fruit ability user burst out crazily. Countless waves formed by the gathering of gold rushed out and directly destroyed the room. Then, as the gold gathered, a huge golden giant emerged. The surrounding buildings were all destroyed because of the appearance of the golden giant. Those who were originally enjoying the luxury of this city have now begun to flee frantically. Look carefully, Chen Tian. This is my city. I'm everything in this world. Even if you are the so-called 4 emperors, as long as you are in my city, you have to accept my rule. Tesoro made his own decision. He did not intend to surrender to the 10,000 Worlds Pirates, nor did he think about handing over half of his property. He chose to directly deal with Chen Tian here. At this time, Teotu's face also became very ugly. Chen Tian and Tesoro fought, and the battle between these 2 guys was absolutely terrifying. More importantly, she didn't know what she should do. Although Tesoro had an inseparable relationship with the world government, this guy was actually a bastard who did many evil things. As for attacking Chen Tian, to be honest, the Navy headquarters is not ready to go to war with the Bankai pirates. Hey, do you know what price you have to pay to challenge me? At this moment, the long sword on his waist was unsheathed, but Chen Tian's face did not change much. Facing the golden giant, He was still as calm as before. Think carefully, you will die. Tesoro. This is the last chance Chen Tian gave Tesoro for the sake of the old boatman. If he still doesn't know how to grasp it, then it's not Chen Tian's fault. As soon as the words fell, the extremely powerful domineering aura rushed out of Chen Tian's body. Tesoro's men around him, and many people who were running away, fainted one after another. Since the other party wanted to die, Chen Tian naturally had to fulfill his wish. Originally, for the sake of the old boatman, Chen Tian was ready and planned to give him two choices and even be protected by the Bankai pirates. But unexpectedly, Tesoro finally chose to go to war with him here. Chapter 254. Arrogant Tesoro. It's really huge. Chen Tian was just about to deal with Tesoro directly, but he found that this golden giant was too tall, beyond his imagination. Chen Tian can guarantee that this golden giant is definitely bigger than Susanoo. Chen Tian was a little dumbfounded by this carelessness. The sudden impact of a 30-story building could not be easily ignored. But then he came to his senses. Although it was huge, it was just a showpiece in his eyes. Haha, even the four emperors dare not act rashly after seeing the posture of God. But Chen Tian, I will not hold back. Seeing Chen Tian dumbfounded, Tesoro became more arrogant, and the whole person was a little crazy, and it seemed that his mind was not normal. After finishing speaking, the golden giant's right eye suddenly opened wide, and a low shout came out from Tesoro's mouth. Golden divine fire. Using domineering energy as energy, it is heated through mechanical transmission in the giant's body, and then produces high temperature and high density energy, and expands rapidly, and then the giant's right eye emits an amazing laser, heading straight for Chen Tian. The power of this move is extremely huge, and it can directly blow up the Navy's warships at a distance of tens of kilometers. But no matter how powerful it is, it can only work if it can hit the target. And Chen Tian's best ability is speed. Boom. In a flash, the laser passed through Chen Tian's body and then hit the building behind him hard. The huge explosion directly destroyed a series of buildings behind him, but Chen Tian still stood there unscathed, looking as if nothing had happened. At that time, the huge explosion made Teo 2, who was originally standing not far in front of Chen Tian, quickly avoid the attack of the golden divine fire and the range of the explosion. Tesoro, you don't like watching the news, right? Everyone in the world knows that ordinary attacks can't even touch the corner of my clothes. No matter how powerful your attack is, it will be useless if you can't hit anyone. Chen Tian put the growth sword on his right shoulder, his expression slightly contemptuous, and his tone also carried a hint of sarcasm. Your armament haki is not weak. Plus the ability of the fruit awakening, you can dominate even in the new world, but you are still too weak in front of me. Tesoro naturally knew Chen Tian's terrifying and weird speed. Even the observation haki could hardly capture the other party's specific location. Even for most people, even if they captured it, it would be meaningless. Just like before, Chen Tian dodged his golden divine fire at a very fast speed, and then returned to his original position before the afterimage disappeared, looking like he didn't move at all. You are one of the four emperors, but you can only hide and dodge like a mouse. You don't even have the courage to fight me head on. If that's the case, you might as well give me your position as one of the four emperors. Tesoro punched Chen Tian directly, making the place, which had already become a ruin, even more shabby. But Chen Tian's figure disappeared under this punch, and then slowly condensed on the top floor of a building not far away. You want to fight me head on? Haha, to be honest, I haven't fought anyone head on for a long time. Now it's a good choice to stretch my muscles. Then Chen Tian turned around and looked at Nami and Robin, who were playing with Tesoro's three men, and said slowly, it shouldn't be a problem for you two to deal with the three of them. Of course there is no problem, but brother Chen Tian, if you expose your strength here, the Navy will see it clearly. Robin punched Bakura away, then raised her head and looked at Chen Tian and said, since they want to see, let them have a good look. They will know it sooner or later anyway. Chen Tian smiled, and then the violent power on his body became stronger and stronger, and Robin also revealed his flower fruit and began to beat Bakura. Chen Tian just took a look and stopped paying attention. He turned his head and said to Tesoro, come on, Tesoro, try to see what effect your power can have on me. After that, Chen Tian hooked his finger at the golden giant, and a look of contempt flashed in his eyes. Although it looks big, can you still be as big as an island? Not to mention the 4 emperors, even the vice emperor would not have a difficult time destroying an island. Then open your eyes and see clearly. Go to hell. Golden fire. In an instant, the golden giant's fist was armored, and it suddenly punched out, and even a little lava effect appeared. But this time Chen Tian was real, and there was no intention of dodging. He raised the long sword in his right hand, and chopped down the golden fist that was bombarding him. The sword energy, that seemed to split the heaven and earth, rushed out at this time and directly cut the fist of the golden giant. Then the sword energy was like cutting tofu, without any obstruction, and directly split the arm in the middle, and the sword energy went directly to the distant sky. Seeing this scene, Teo too, who was watching from the sidelines, was stunned. Could the world's #1 swordsman Hawkeye Mihawk display such a terrifying sword energy just now? But it seems that Chen Tian did not rely on his attainments in kendo, but on his pure strength to cut out such sword energy. But the fact is, that even without a long sword in hand, the air cannon shot out with a fist will not be weaker than the sword energy. At the dock of the Great Tesoro, on a special boat, Hawkeye, who was about to leave, also saw the sword energy just now, and couldn't help whispering to himself, it seems that, if there is a chance in the future, I can have a good exchange with Chen Tian, but today is not a good time. As he said, Hawkeye turned his head and looked at the ships that slowly appeared in the sea in the distance and kept approaching the Great Tesoro. These ships all had a unified flag. I don't know who notified them, but they actually attracted such a huge number of naval fleets. If he continues to stay here as a Shichibuke, he will not be prepared for those idiot navy requests to let him deal with Chen Tian. He is not in the mood to help the navy, and he doesn't want to be troubled, so he just got on his boat and left this place of trouble. Chapter 255 Killing Tesoro. Chen Tian only slashed down with one knife and cut off one of the golden giant's arms. Such a terrifying power made everyone present stunned. There were only 2 people who were not stunned, because in their eyes, this was an extremely normal thing. These 2 people were Nami and Robin. In their opinion, their captain had such strength, and it was very simple to do this. As the captain of the Wanji pirates, how could he be a weak person? Huh. It's really amazing. I didn't expect that I would be so powerful. What do you think, Tesoro? Chen Tian looked at the blade in his hand, then looked up at the golden giant, whose arm was quickly recondensing, and chuckled and said, I only cut your arm with that knife just now. What if I cut other parts of your body next? Can you still bear it? Tesoro's face was extremely gloomy at this time. Can he still bear it? If he can still bear it, there must be something fishy. Not only was my golden fire broken by a knife, but even my entire golden arm was cut off, and it was like cutting tofu, with no resistance at all. With such a sharpness, how can my mortal body withstand it? To be honest, at this time, Tesoro has begun to regret it. Even if the 4 emperors are all monsters, even Chen Tian, who has not made a move in the past few years, is also a monster that has become extremely perverted. This kind of monster is not something he can provoke, even if it is now in his own city. If he is a real god in the Golden City, then these 4 emperors are the real god slayers who can kill gods. Of course, although he knows that the opponent is so strong that he is perverted, since it has come to this point, he can't give up so easily. Demon God Chen Tian, do you think you have won? Haha, I said before that I'm a god in this Golden City. No matter how powerful you are, you have to crawl at my feet. Tesoro said that, even if the opponent is a monster, he must carry on with his second year. No matter how many times you can cut off my gold, I can recover as quickly as possible, and you will always be exhausted. A mere mortal, an ant, delusionally wants to compete with the gods. You are killing yourself. For some reason, Chen Tian always felt very out of place when listening to Tesoro's words. He could think of many such guys, such as Enalu, who was in the late stage of Chunibyo when he met on Sky Island. But according to his memory, such a Chunibyo and arrogant guy seemed to have no good ending. Even Uchiha Madara, who was the strongest and most intelligent among the Chunibyo and arrogant ones, knelt down, didn't he? Brother Chen Tian, there are naval warships coming. I counted and there are a total of 10 warships. They should be well prepared. At this time, Robin suddenly raised his head and said to Chen Tian, "The navy is quite fast. It seems that someone in the Golden City has already discovered my identity, and that person is quite well hidden. I still don't know who he is." Chen Tian carefully recalled the people he met in the Golden City. He really couldn't imagine who discovered him. So he could only guess and ask Tesoro, "Tesoro, there are celestial dragons in your Golden City, right? CP's agents are protecting that celestial dragon, and then because of some coincidences, they discovered my existence?" The Golden Emperor Tesoro's movement paused for a moment. Although it was only a moment, Chen Tian knew that his guess was correct. Now there are indeed celestial dragons on the Great Tesoro. Nami Robin, the celestial dragons will be left to you two to deal with. You can do whatever you want. Since our tracks have been exposed, we have to pay a price. As soon as the voice fell, Chen Tian jumped up and rushed directly towards the golden giant. The long sword in his hand showed a strong armed color domineering aura. Robin, who had just dealt with Baccarat, looked helpless, shrugged his shoulders and said, "It's really a matter of trouble for others, but since it's the captain's order, we can only execute it." As he said that, a cold light flashed in Robin's eyes, and then he took Nami to find the celestial dragon. If nothing unexpected happened, she would find the celestial dragon and kill him. The destruction of her hometown Ohara was also due to these termites. So although Robin is very kind, she will never be soft-hearted when she encounters these scum. Even if this reason is excluded, since Chen Tian has issued an order, she will definitely execute it, no matter what the order is, or whether it is right or wrong. Boom. Just as he was about to leave, a huge noise suddenly broke out, and the entire Tesoro was shaken. A huge golden arm was cut off by Chen Tian with a knife, and fell to the ground. At this time, Chen Tian had no intention of stopping. He held the long knife, and swung it continuously. In a breath, he cut off all the limbs of the golden giant opposite, leaving only the torso. Looking at the golden giant who was only a human stick, Chen Tian curled his lips and said casually, "I don't have time to play with you anymore, Tesoro. As for your wealth, I will slowly take it over after I repel all these navy." While speaking, Chen Tian held the knife with both hands, and the aura emanating from his body increased again. The powerful and terrifying domineering aura of the king spread in all directions, completely covering this world. For the sake of the old boatman, he had given Tesoro a choice again and again, but in the end Tesoro still chose to fight him. In this case, Chen Tian had nothing to hold back, so it would be better to solve it directly. "Stop kidding, I'm the real god here. Even the four emperors can't take everything from me, except your death, Chen Tian." Golden God's punishment. Tesoro had become a little crazy at this time. He used his ability to control the gold on the entire Tesoro, condensing it into several golden pillars. Then these golden pillars quickly condensed into missile heads and integrated with the powerful armed color domineering. This was his most powerful attack and his life-threatening attack. The next moment, these golden missile heads all rushed towards the position where Chen Tian was. And Tesoro also laughed wildly, as if he had defeated Chen Tian. Looking at the disheveled and crazy Tesoro, Chen Tian held the long sword in his hand, and then adjusted his breathing, becoming extremely calm. Sensing the fluctuations around him, he constantly gathered all his strength. "Do you know, Tesoro, the power of a two-handed slash is far greater than that of a single-handed slash. This is a very simple truth, but it seems that you don't quite understand it." After the words fell, Chen Tian swung the sword with both hands. Time seemed to stop for a moment at this moment, until the world started to flow again, and the slashes that connected the sky and the earth rushed out. This sword seemed to cut off all the obstacles in front at the same time. All the golden missile heads were shattered by this sword, and then the sword energy cut the golden giant and Tesoro together. The entire Tesoro was cut off by about half, and the seawater rushed into the golden city frantically. After putting away the sword, Chen Tian let out a long breath, and didn't even look at Tesoro's direction. Although the strength of the Golden Emperor was indeed not weak, under the sword energy just now, he had absolutely no chance of survival. Chapter 256 Powerful Plastic Surgery. But at this moment, a series of hurried footsteps reached Chen Tian's ears, and at the same time, a vicious voice also sounded at this moment. "Demon God Chen Tian, surrender. Since you dare to leave the Wanji pirates alone without taking your own men, you will not have any chance of winning. Turning his head, Chen Tian saw a very familiar figure. The person who spoke was one of the strongest combat forces of the Navy headquarters, Akainu Sakazuki, one of the 3 admirals of the Navy. Seeing the Linoop of the Navy coming, even Chen Tian was a little surprised. In addition to Akainu, Kizaru also came together. 2 of the 3 admirals of the Navy were made, plus there were already 2 backup admirals, Momotosuji and Chatten, on the Great Tesoro. This is already a very powerful Linoop. However, what surprised Chen Tian the most was that he actually found traces of Garp in the crowd. This was a bit too much. They called this old man over. It seems that the Navy is really planning to keep him this time, but is this combat power really enough? TSK, 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 your team is really big, 2 generals, 2 reserve generals, and Garp, the hero of the Navy, and 4 vice admirals of the Navy headquarters. Chen Tian turned around and looked at the large number of Navy that had surrounded him and said slowly, is the Navy headquarters ready to go to war with my Bankei pirates? Don't forget that this is a new world. With so many combat forces, do you still want your several branches? This is indeed the new world, but it is still some distance away from the Bankei pirates. It is definitely too late for the Bankei pirates to rush over to support, and the closest 4 emperors is Whitebird, and Chen Tian has no friendship with them. Of course, to be precise, Chen Tian has no friendship with the other 3-4 emperors, only Shanks is better, because he always met Shanks before, so he has some friendship. As long as we can get rid of you here, it won't be a problem to lose a few branches. Akainu said sternly with a gloomy face. In fact, it was not just him. All the Navy officers present thought so. It was far more important to get rid of a 4 emperor like Chen Tian than to defend those branches. After getting rid of the 4 emperors, they could take the opportunity to flood into the new world and then gain a foothold in the new world and break the current situation. This was also the order directly issued by Marshal Sengoku, asking Akainu, who was originally going to guard the Navy branch, to rush over to encircle and suppress the demon god Chen Tian. The premise is that you can get rid of me, but I think that is impossible. If I can be solved so easily by you, am I still qualified to be called the 4 emperors? Chen Tian once again drew out the long sword at his waist, and a piercing cold light flashed in his eyes. A ferocious smile appeared on his face. Come on together. If it's just one of you, you don't have any chance at all. Of course, I think even if all of you attack together, you won't have any chance. You are too arrogant, Chen Tian. Your ambition should stop here. Hade's dog. Sakazuki was already brooding over the battle with Chen Tian, and now being mocked by Chen Tian, he was instantly furious. His arm turned directly into hot magma and punched Chen Tai. The magma arm carried terrifying heat and turned into a dog head, baring its teeth and claws to bite off a piece of meat from Chen Tian. But 5 years seem to have given you a lot of confidence, and your strength has grown compared to when you were in the 7 water capital before. Chen Tian smiled slightly when he saw this. When he first met Akainu, he was chased by the other party and had no way to go up to the sky or down to the ground. When he met him the second time, he hung him up and beat him. He didn't expect that Akainu would have such confidence when they met for the 3rd time. Then he held the long sword and walked forward. His speed was very fast, leaving a trail of after images behind him. Although he couldn't see Chen Tian's position clearly, he could hear his voice. But you are not the only one who has become stronger. I have had a hard time in the past 5 years, so I'm much stronger than you now. Hearing this, Robin, who was returning quickly, subconsciously sneered. Chen Tian had indeed had a hard time in the past 5 years. He sometimes made tea, sometimes fished, or went to the back garden to take a nap. At most, he would run out to practice kendo casually when he felt like it. He rarely even managed the affairs of the Wanji pirate group. This was really too hard. The next moment, Chen Tian came directly in front of Akainu, swept the long sword in his hand, and the violent sword energy instantly cut him in half. The gust of wind caused by the sword swung away the whole person of Akainu. Ahem. Akainu coughed up blood after regaining his balance. He had not expected Chen Tian's attack to be so terrifying. He almost didn't have time to speak. If he was a little slower, he would have been cut in half. Sakazuki, this kid is powerful and very fast. If you are still so careless, then get out of here and go back to the military. In an instant, Garp appeared behind Chen Tian with a shave, waving his iron fist and smashing down at Chen Tian fiercely. Boom boom. Garp's fist hit this time, but he didn't hit Chen Tian, but a marine colonel who also rushed over with a shave. Chen Tian's speed was too fast. While dodging Garp, he was able to throw the marine colonel over. Haha, a dignified marine hero actually ended the life of a marine soldier with his own hands. Do you deserve them to look at you with admiration and call you a hero? Chen Tian turned half of his head away, his tone and eyes full of mockery. It doesn't matter to the others. Even if they all come together, it won't have much impact on Chen Tian. But it's different for the old man Garp. Among all the people present, Garp is the only one that Chen Tian is afraid of, so now he tries to make Garp's mentality explode. Damn it, Chen Tian. Garp was furious at this time. He never thought that Chen Tian would use such a sinister method. But when he raised his iron fist with angry and irritable eyes, he didn't dare to drop it. He was afraid. He dropped his fist and took the life of an excellent Navy soldier. As far as the current distance is concerned, with Chen Tian's speed, he can throw any Navy soldier onto his fist in an instant. If you want to defeat Chen Tian Garp, you have to burst out with all your strength, but when he bursts out with all his strength, it is impossible to retract the strength in time. In this way, as long as I, Chen Tian, throw the Navy soldier in front of him, he will kill the Navy soldier with his own hands. You can't do it, right? If you can't do it, then I won't be polite. Chen Tian turned around suddenly, holding the handle of the long sword tightly with both hands, and aimed at Garp in front of him and slashed. For a moment, the sword energy that connected the sky and the earth rushed out again, but this time the sword energy did not directly cut off the enemy, like it did to Tesoro. Garp's fists were condensed with powerful armed color domineering, and he withstood the sword of Chen Tian that slashed the sea. At least when you attack, your speed must be affected, right? At this moment, Kizaru appeared directly on the right side of Chen Tian. You haven't been kicked by the speed of light, demon god Chen Tian. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 257 Mystery. It must be said that Kizaru's judgment was very correct. No matter how abnormal Chen Tian's speed was, he would pause briefly when he attacked. That is to say, if he caught the moment of his attack, he could also attack him. But Kizaru didn't expect that Chen Tian's current strength was not afraid of taking his light speed kick head on. Boom. A huge roar sounded, and the dark armament haki directly wrapped up Chen Tian's entire body, blocking all of Kizaru's attacks. Chen Tian's armament haki was not weak at all, and could be compared with Garp. There was no pressure at all to block Kizaru's attack. Let's attack together, don't let this guy have time to breathe. Kizaru's attack failed, and he immediately shouted. Then, Teotu and Chatan, as well as several lieutenant generals who came with him, were all super Chen Tian, and launched an attack. As long as Chen Tian dared to slow down, their attacks would fall like crazy rain. But seeing this scene, Garp, who had finally blocked Chen Tian's sword energy, changed his expression and immediately shouted, "Everyone, focus on your observation haki. This kid is too fast and hard to defend against." The sounds of swords clashing, and fists and feet colliding, rang out one after another. Kizaru and Akainu rushed over to attack Chen Tian, but Chen Tian blocked every move. Although he was not hurt at all, his chest was heaving up and down. To deal with so many strong men at once, his physical strength was consumed very quickly. Even with his abnormal physical fitness, he also felt a little tired. If this continued for a long time, his physical strength and haki would not be able to support it. After letting out a long sigh, Chen Tian casually swung his sword, and a huge gully was cut on the ground. In this case, then I will have a good time with you. By the way, the celestial dragons on the Great Tesoro have been dealt with by Robin, so if you can't keep me, it will be difficult to explain to the world government. Asshole, Chen Tian, go to hell, big fire. At this time, Akainu, who rushed over, jumped up, aimed at Chen Tian's position from top to bottom, and burst out his terrifying magma, and punched him. Chen Tian was not afraid at all, and directly raised the long sword in his hand. He slashed at Akainu with a slash. The sword energy instantly split the magma into two, and then forced Akainu's face. Facing such a sharp sword energy, there was no hesitation, and he directly evaded it by elementalization, but his own speed was not fast, and the power of Chen Tian's sword energy was too strong. Even if he dodged by elementalization, he would inevitably be scratched. After quickly retreating a distance, he recondensed his body, but at this time, there was another blood mark on his body, which was obviously left by Chen Tian's attack just now. Boy, you are careless. At the moment, when Chen Tian cut the magma, Garp and Kizaru appeared beside him at the same time, and the two attacked him from the left and right. Garp pushed his armed color domineering to the extreme, and aimed his iron fist at Chen Tian's head. This time he was very clear that, even if Chen Tian was fast, other navy soldiers were not within his reach, and could not be used as meat shields. Kizaru quickly condensed the American English Cume sword. Although he mainly studied the fruit ability, he was not weak in swordsmanship, especially with his extremely fast speed. He could be called a great swordsman. One sword cut, Lengling. Seeing this, Chen Tian immediately fell in Garp's direction with a sword. To resist Garp's iron fist, only his current extremely powerful slash could do it. On the other side, the remaining hand quickly turned black, covered with armed haki, and fell heavily towards Kizaru's American English no Kurosakuma sword. But at this moment, Akainu, who had just been repelled, dodged, and rushed to Chen Tian, and hit Chen Tian's chest with a move of K9 two-thread lotus without any hindrance. The scorching magma and powerful force burst out suddenly, directly blasting Chen Tian away, and at the same time leaving obvious burn marks on his chest. Cough cough. After Chen Tian broke two walls in succession, he coughed and stood up from the ruins. The wound left by the magma on his chest made him feel extremely painful. You can't escape this time anyway, but this will not be your burial place. For your crimes, the Navy headquarters will publicly execute you, Akainu said in a deep voice after a successful strike. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth with the back of his hand, Chen Tian's face turned cold at this time. You want to publicly execute me? I'm afraid it's not because of my crimes, but you want to lead my Wanji pirates to a battlefield suitable for you, and then catch them all in one fell swoop, but this idea can only fall through. Next, I advise you to make a final effort. Try to survive, otherwise I will find it boring. Chen Tian was really angry this time. He rarely showed such a cold expression. Even when facing a strong enemy like Kato, he seemed to be at ease. Now Chen Tian has the confidence to deal with these navy in front of him, because in the past 5 years, although he didn't draw anything good, he created a mystery of his own by chance. Taking a deep breath, Chen Tian held the handle of the long sword with both hands, and then slowly raised the famous sword in his hand. The black armed color domineering, and the huge domineering color domineering surged wildly at this moment, and the space around him began to turn up, like waves. These lines spread wildly in all directions, and as they spread, the space affected began to distort. Don't let this kid attack. Garp felt the threat in an instant, and he immediately roared, and then rushed to the direction where Chen Tian was. The spreading waves contained extremely terrifying power. If Chen Tian was allowed to fully unleash this power, he would not be able to resist it at all. Meteor Volcano. Yoshakuni no Magatama. Kizaru and Akainu also reacted immediately, and both of them burst out their most powerful attacks and attacked Chen Tian. At the same time, Teo 2, Chatten and other vice admirals of the navy were not idle either, and they all attacked together, with extremely powerful attacks, all locking Chen Tian. Even the 4 emperors had to retreat 3 points when facing such an attack. But Chen Tian stood still, just quietly feeling the ripples that continued to spread, and then his calm voice slowly spread. This secret has been mastered until now, but this is the first time I have used it. Today I will use you to test the sword. Suddenly, Chen Tian held the sword with both hands and slowly chopped it down, extremely clean and crisp, without any burst of sword energy, and followed by his calm voice. Secret. One sword cut, shatter the sky. The space seemed to be still at this moment, and the actions of Garp, Akainu, Kizaru and other Navy officers all stopped, and then cracks appeared from the place where Chen Tian had just chopped, and quickly spread out, covering all the space in front. Crack. It was like the sound of broken glass, and the space where Chen Tian rose seemed to be broken like a mirror. After a moment of stagnation, all the buildings and the ground in front of him seemed to be swept by countless sword energy, leaving shocking traces, which appeared at the moment when the mirror was broken. Immediately afterwards, all the Navy generals including Garp flew out, and those ordinary Navy soldiers fell to the ground at the same time, their lives and deaths unknown. The entire Great Tesoro was in a state of frantic destruction, and seawater was pouring into the entire Golden City. If you looked around, you could see countless cracks appearing everywhere on the sea surface, and the surging seawater could not fill those cracks in a short period of time. Chapter 258, Garp's Hidden Strength. Morning Sky. Garp's body was covered with many sword marks, but he still stood up, his eyes burning with terrible anger, his fists clenched, and his body still had great strength. Although he was seriously injured, he managed to survive with his strength. A moment later, Akeno and Kizaru stood up one after another. Teoto and Chatten needed to hold on to the surrounding ruins to barely stand, but all of them were covered with sword wounds. The dense wounds showed the power of the move of Morning Sky. Even these strong men had to pay a great price to be able to bear it. As for the other lieutenant generals of the headquarters, they could only lie on the ground and gasp for air. Fresh blood flowed out of the wounds, and they didn't even have the strength to stand up. At that moment just now, they felt that their bodies were like a mirror, breaking bit by bit. That kind of overbearing power stilled the space, and then the sword energy was wielded wantonly. Every crack on the mirror was a sword energy that distorted the space. At the moment, when the space was finally broken, each of them burst out with all their strength, and then they blocked Chen Tian's terrifying slash. It's really amazing that you can even block my move, but looking at your current situation, if it happens again, I guess few people will survive, right? Chen Tian's eyes also flashed with a look of surprise at this time. He didn't expect that these guys could react at the last moment and even help those fallen Navy soldiers and help them block most of the attacks. Otherwise, at least 80% of those fallen Navy soldiers would die on the spot under this move. Come again. Do you still have that strength? Garp said in a deep voice. He couldn't figure out what Chen Tian was like now. What do you think? Chen Tian waved the long sword in his hand, the tip of the knife pointed straight ahead, and said with a sneer. If he had just comprehended the secret of this move, he would have exhausted all his domineering and physical strength when he used it, and even standing would probably be a problem after using it. But now it is different. After so many years of development and utilization, his ability to master this move has become stronger. Although the power of this move has not increased, it can avoid the waste of domineering and physical strength, thereby enhancing his endurance. Judging from the current situation, it only takes another 5 minutes for him to use this move again. And in these 5 minutes, he can still use other means. It is almost impossible for Garp and others to defeat him in this time. Garp also adjusted his breathing at this time, staring at Chen Tian with his eyes, and the momentum of his whole body increased again, becoming even stronger than before, reaching a terrifying level. Chen Tian was slightly stunned. He never thought that under such circumstances, Garp could still hold back. Should we say that he is worthy of being a naval hero who once confronted the Sea Overlord, the Rocks pirates, and later forced the Pirate King Roger into a desperate situation several times? It's really rare to see Vice Admiral Garp like this, but since it's already like this, there's no need for me to take action later, right? Kizaru couldn't help but be shocked when he saw Garp's current appearance, and then secretly put down the burden in his heart, breathed a sigh of relief, and said with a relaxed expression, "Stop joking, Kizaru. As a Navy, how can I retreat? I will capture him with my own hands today, no matter what I say." Sakazuki. Before the correct words were finished, Garp let out a low shout, and his tone was no longer casual as usual, but became extremely majestic. "All of you retreat. The battle here is not for you kids to take action. I will teach this kid a lesson, and then take him back to the Navy headquarters." Then, Garp took a step forward suddenly, and the powerful momentum swept directly towards Chen Tian. With the terrifying momentum, many people's conqueror haki are much stronger. Do you want to stop me alone? Navy hero, Iron Fist Garp. This is a very famous name. Even other people in the new world are afraid of your name. Of course, except for Whitebird. That old guy is so powerful that he is abnormal, although he is very old. But you are different. Time doesn't seem to have left any traces on you, Garp. Chen Tian took a few steps forward with a long sword in his hand. The distance between him and Garp was only about 10 meters. Conqueror haki swept out from his body and hit the terrifying momentum of Capra. Although he took the attack of Shattered Sky head on and had many scars on his body, Garp's aura did not decrease but increased. It was as if he had not used his full strength before, and the strength he showed at this moment was the power that only Navy heroes truly possessed. Chen Tian boy, I will return to you everything you said just now. He suddenly stepped on the ground, and the whole person shot out like lightning, and at the same time, a loud shout came from his mouth. Try to survive, otherwise I will feel bored. Boom. A huge sound broke out, and Garp directly passed through the afterimage left by Chen Tian, punched the ground, and instantly broke the ground that was already full of cracks. The great Zoro also began to tremble wildly. It is estimated that it will not be long before this once prosperous golden city in the world will become a ruin buried deep in the sea. At the moment when Garp's fist hit the ground, Chen Tian quickly turned around, swung the long sword in his hand, aimed at Garp, and slashed it. But at this moment, Garp reacted surprisingly, punched strongly, and collided with the long sword in Chen Tian's hand. Boom. The next moment, Chen Tian retreated quickly, looked at Garp with a little surprise and said, your attainment of armament haki is really unexpected. Just a punch like this has injured my body. You know, he used both hands to hold the knife when he attacked just now, but Garp's punch directly blasted him away, and even his knuckles were cracked by the powerful armament haki. Although he recovered quickly under his powerful strength, his hands were still shaking. It is said that the bodies of people in this world are a little too strong. His physical fitness is already strong enough, but now it seems that it is not unique. Among the deaths nowadays, his physical fitness is probably not even in the top 2. Chapter 259 Strong Willpower. After fighting for a move, Chen Tian stopped holding back and rushed towards Garp. The two fought back and forth for hundreds of rounds in an instant, and wounds appeared on their bodies. But it was visible to the naked eye that the wounds on Chen Tian's body were recovering rapidly. Almost all the wounds left in the last second would disappear in the next second, leaving only torn clothes. On the contrary, the wounds on Garp's body were bleeding and bleeding continuously, without any tendency to heal on their own. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that, if the situation continued, it would not take long for Garp to be defeated by Chen Tian. Garp's true strength was not inferior to Chen Tian. Even if he could not win, Ping Feng Qus he could do it. But Chen Tian's healing ability was too abnormal, making most of Garp's attacks useless. Instead, Chen Tian could consume Garp to death bit by bit. Vice Admiral Garp. It seems like we are in real trouble now. This recovery ability is too terrifying. It can actually make Vice Admiral Garp helpless. Kizaru and others looked extremely gloomy at the moment. They saw what happened, but they were powerless. Garp was no longer hurt. Chen Tian has completely gained the upper hand. Damn, we underestimated Chen Tian before. He hid too well. We didn't know that his recovery ability has reached this level. It is almost comparable to Kado. Kizaru said with a serious face at this time. In the Navy's intelligence, although Chen Tian's own combat power is very strong, there is no information about recovery ability. Even though it was reported before that he killed Big Mom and defeated Kato, many people thought that it was just Chen Tian who was lucky. But now seeing the hidden strength of the other party, the Navy realized that Chen Tian, the Four Emperors, is worthy of the name. Whether it is the forces under his command, his own strength, or even the hidden things, he is definitely worthy of the title of the Four Emperors. Hey, aren't you guys going to come up and help? If so, the life of this old guy. Chen Tian stood less than 3 meters away from Garp, holding the long sword in both hands and quickly raised it high, and then slashed it down with one knife. Then I will accept it without hesitation. Hell dog. Laser beam. When Chen Tian slashed it down with one knife, Akainu and Kizaru attacked at the same time. They couldn't just watch Garp being killed by the other party. Although Garp was only a vice admiral, he was a hero of the navy and had a great reputation among all the navies in the world. If he was killed by Chen Tian here, the dignity of the navy would suffer an unparalleled blow. And the consequence of such a situation is that pirates will become more rampant. Even in the future, more and more people will go to sea. But at this moment, Garp's figure suddenly flashed, and the scarred body suddenly appeared beside Chen Tian. Then he raised his iron fist high, supported the laser beam and the Hades dog to hit Chen Tian's slash, and hit Chen Tian's lower abdomen with all his strength. With this punch, Chen Tian flew backwards like a cannonball and crashed into many buildings that were already very dilapidated. He barely stopped, spitting out several mouthfuls of blood, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He knew clearly that Garp was seriously injured before, with so many wounds exposed, and almost his whole body was stained with blood. But just at that moment, he resisted the injury and reacted. This situation is not impossible, but the probability of occurrence is too small, and it may not happen to one person in 10,000. Garp's willpower is really powerful and terrifying. Ahem. After coughing up 2 mouthfuls of blood again, Chen Tian used his long sword to support himself on the ground and slowly stood up. He stared at Garp in the distance and said in a deep voice, "You old guy actually has such a strong willpower. Should I say you are worthy of being a navy hero? You can still force yourself to move even with such an injury. Willpower is a mysterious thing. People with strong enough willpower can perfectly execute their ideas without any deviation, but people with insufficient willpower cannot do this. To use a simple example to describe it, people with strong willpower will work when they want to work, play when they want to play, and sleep when they want to sleep, without procrastinating for a second. People with weak willpower will have a very serious procrastination disorder and always think about putting things off until tomorrow. However, no matter how strong the willpower is, it is impossible to violate the law of survival of organisms. Chen Tian believes that even Garp can't do it again. Otherwise, he should have taken advantage of the victory just now, instead of standing there like a wooden man after the punch just now. But when he launched the attack, Garp's heart would make his body react. In other words, the strong sense of crisis allowed him to deal with all the threats that came to him when he was about to lose consciousness. Taking a step forward, Chen Tian's body shook suddenly, and he almost lost his balance. He also felt severe pain at the place where he was hit by Garp's iron fist. Although his self-healing ability was recovering rapidly, Garp's punch just now had injected part of his armament haki into his body, which was now raging wildly. Chen Tian was recovering himself, but Garp's armament haki was destroying wildly, so even with Chen Tian's self-healing ability, there was no way to fully recover for the time being. At this time, Robin also trotted over. "Brother Chen Tian, I just dealt with that disgusting celestial dragon. We have what we want now, and there is an unexpected gain." Robin smiled and spoke directly. Hearing this, Chen Tian's expression instantly became depressed. He looked at Robin, took a deep breath, and then said, "Robin, could you tell me earlier if this happens in the future? If you had told me earlier, why would I have to fight with this group of idiots here for so long? The goal has been achieved. Wouldn't it be better for us to just leave and retreat? I see that Brother Chen Tian was having so much fun fighting just now. It's a bit hard to disturb you. Besides, Brother Chen Tian didn't actually want to leave at all, did he?" Robin's words left Chen Tian speechless. In the situation just now, he really didn't want to leave. He was so excited in the fighting that he didn't think about evacuating at all. Okay, this time it's my fault, but it's good to have a good fight like this and stretch my muscles. At this point, Chen Tian suddenly held the long sword with both hands again and raised it high. The powerful armament haki and domineering haki all gathered towards the famous sword in his hand. In this case, let's stop here today, but there must be a suitable ending at the end. One sword cut, shatter the sky. As soon as the words fell, the slash rat with armament haki and domineering haki flew forward madly. Seeing such an attack, Akainu, Kizaru, Momoshiki and Chatten all blocked in front of Garp at once, and each burst out their own strength to resist Chen Tian's slash. They didn't dare to bet that Garp could continue to fight back and dodge. Chapter 260 Departure. After the attack, Chen Tian and Rabunami left the place in an instant, leaving only an illusory afterimage. Goodbye everyone. I suggest you take good care of the branches of the Navy in the New World recently, so as to avoid any accidents. Wait until Garp recovers. Please tell him for me that the Navy hero is indeed worthy of his reputation. If it weren't for this old guy here, I would have to kill 2 admirals today. Although the person had left, Chen Tian's voice still rang out in the same place, and at this time at the dock, a ship of the Don Quixote family also raised its sails high and left this place directly. After he left, it took a long time before a canoe punched the ground fiercely, making the great Tesoro, which was already about to sink into the sea, even worse. Damn it, I will kill that bastard Chen Tian one day. He now hated Chen Tian to the bone. The failure of the pursuit more than 10 years ago, the failure of the encirclement and suppression of the 7 water capital before, and the failure of the encirclement and suppression in this golden city again, are simply the biggest stains in his life. I really want to take off Chen Tian's head, but it's impossible. If the encirclement fails this time, there won't be such a good opportunity again. Kizaru couldn't help but speak at this time. He didn't even have the idea of chasing Chen Tian now. Although with his speed, it was not impossible to catch up with Chen Tian now, but if he chased Chen Tian alone, would he chase him and fight, and then escape, or go to die? He didn't have the confidence that he could still compete with Chen Tian after becoming Vice Admiral Garp. After a long while, Garp's body began to shake, but his willpower recovered little by little. Just by taking a look at the surrounding environment, seeing that Kizaru and others were surrounding him, and Chen Tian's figure had disappeared, Garp had guessed the outcome of the matter. Since that brat has already escaped, let's go back quickly. We have to report this to Zanjiuo as soon as possible. Chen Tian is no longer the Chen Tian of the past. His own strength has become a great threat, and this time things have really become very troublesome. So I hate those termites, but it's hard for a navy to explain that they were killed by Chen Tian again. He felt a headache when he didn't think about this matter, and even the physical injuries were not as painful as this matter. You said that you celestial dragons can't just stay in the holy land of Mirajua? You have to come to this golden city to play, and it's fine to play, but everyone else has started to run away, and this idiot is still leisurely, and not in a hurry, and was killed directly by Chen Tian's people. It really deserves it. Of course, it's deserved, but the death of a celestial dragon is not easy for the Navy to explain to the world government. This time, the operation to encircle and suppress Chen Tian not only did not achieve any practical results, but also caused a lot of trouble. Less than a day had passed, and the newsbird brought the latest newspaper and spread the news of the Golden City all over the world. The 4 emperors, the leader of the 10,000 world's pirates, the demon god Chen Tian, once again killed the celestial dragons, and completely destroyed the Grand Tesoro, killing the famous Golden Emperor Tesoro. He then fought with the Admiral of the Navy headquarters, Akainu Kizaru, the Navy hero Iron Fist Garp, and many Navy officers on the Grand Tesoro, and finally escaped unscathed. In addition to the news that Chen Tian had repelled Kato, the beasts, and the news that Jiraiya, his subordinate, attacked the island of the beasts pirates, the two combined together directly sounded the alarm for those who had begun to look down on the 10,000 world's pirates. This made them know that the majesty of the 4 emperors is inviolable. Hehe, it's really amazing. In such a short time, Chen Tian has gone from a new pirate to the 4 emperors who are now famous in the sea, and he is not even a weakling among the 4 emperors. Doflamingo chuckled after reading the newspaper delivered today. He once again thought of Chen Tian who had offended him, and then raised his head and said, "How is the gift that Treble prepared for the Bankai pirates?" Treble, with a big snot hanging from his nose, also grinned and said at this time, "Everything is ready, a total of 11 devil fruits. As long as you share more devil fruits, you can order the fleet to deliver all the gifts immediately, Bankai pirates." It was a devil fruit. Doflamingo made a lot of moves this time, because he has been collecting devil fruits for the past 5 years. Even those relatively useless superhuman devil fruits are now much more expensive. At this time, Doflamingo spent 2.4 billion baileys to collect a devil fruit, then send it to our good friends quickly. As far as the current situation is concerned, the stronger the power of the Bankai pirates is, the more beneficial it will be for us. Doflamingo gave the order without any care. He is now trading with both Kaido and the Bankai pirates, but the latter is the only one that has truly established an alliance. In addition, they directly repelled Kaido, the Beast King, in the 10,000 Worlds continent, and this time they escaped unscathed from the encirclement of the Navy, and even killed a lot of the Navy's elite. From these things, it is obvious that the alliance with the 10,000 Worlds pirates is more suitable than the Beast's pirates. Of course, there is another special reason. Although the 10,000 Worlds pirates are very strong, the people who forget their children are very rational and wise, and they are many times better than the group of reckless men on the side of the Beast's pirates. In addition to Doflamingo, the other 3-4 emperors also received the news and made various different decisions. Moreover, many people around the world saw this news, and even some ordinary civilians were inspired. They jumped up one by one and wanted to go to sea to become pirates, with the goal of becoming the next Dawn Sky. Chapter 261 Kaido's Conspiracy. 10 days later, in the 10,000 Worlds continent, Chen Tian's residence. I summoned you here today to discuss how we will deal with Kaido, the Beast King, in the future. Chen Tian was sitting on the main seat, speaking slowly. On his left and right were Robin and Nami, who were now his bodyguards, and in front of him were Jiraiya and Minato Namikaze. Previously in the Golden City, Robin said that there was an unexpected gain. In addition to the 15 devil fruits mentioned in the information provided by Doflamingo, he also found some devil fruits in Tesoro's own collection, which added up to a total of 31. Adding the 11 devil fruits sent by Doflamingo not long ago, Chen Tian now has 42 devil fruits in his hands. Some of them have good abilities. Chen Tian originally planned to give them to the people of the 10,000 Worlds pirates to improve their strength, but he didn't expect that everyone rejected his proposal. According to them, as long as you work hard to train and practice hard, your strength will always improve, but after eating the devil fruit, you will have a fatal flaw. Chen Tian did not force it, and let the system release all the devil fruits. Bilu Gilu. Bilu Gilu. Just when Chen Tian and the others began to discuss, the voice of Denden Mushi suddenly sounded, but this Denden Mushi was not his, but the one on Jiraiya. HMM. After a moment of hesitation, Jiraiya immediately picked up the Denden Mushi, and then the Denden Mushi turned into Orochimaru. Something happened. This time, the Whitebird pirates and the Beast's pirates are coming towards our Bankai pirates at the same time. After listening to Orochimaru's story, Chen Tian's face suddenly changed. Not long ago, most of the Bankai pirates left the island they were guarding and came to Bankai Island. Orochimaru was ordered to guard the outer area. Then he received a message saying that the Beast's pirates had led people to attack one of their territories, and then Orochimaru, who was unwilling to suffer a loss, rushed over with a group of his men. When they arrived, they saw a group of people looting on the island. Moreover, many people belonging to their Wanji pirates fell down, and he burst out directly, rushed up and started to kill the enemy. But what he never expected was that the people who attacked the outer islands before were the people of the Beast's pirates, and they had already evacuated. The people who looted on the island were led by the people of the Beast's pirates, all of whom belonged to the Whitebird pirates. After knowing this, Orochimaru and others had killed that group of people cleanly, leaving no one behind. The old guy Whitebird treated all the pirates under his command as his own sons. His son was killed by the people of the Wanji pirates. If he didn't take revenge, how could the Whitebird pirates still have a foothold in the new world? So the Whitebird pirates directly sent troops to the Wanji pirates, and at the same time, the Beast's pirates, whose conspiracy was punished, immediately chose to march towards the Wanji pirates. They wanted to use the power of the Whitebird pirates to break the Wanji pirates in one fell swoop. Under such circumstances, the Wanji pirates now have to deal with two emperors at the same time. Not only Orochimaru, but even Chen did not expect that Kaido, who looked like a big fool, would have such a conspiracy. Although the conspiracy itself was very simple, what could he do? Kaido has always given people the impression of being a fool. Even a smart person like Orochimaru did not expect that the other party would use a trick. So he killed the pirates under the command of the Whitebird pirates without even thinking about it. And it was also Whitebird's fault. Those stupid sons had no brains. You said you would hunt down the people of the Beast's pirates, so you could just hunt them down. There were so many pirates who wanted to take advantage of it and plundered the territory of the 10,000 Worlds pirates. Isn't this courting death? Chen Tian, what do you think about us telling Whitebird the whole story of this matter and then focusing on dealing with Kato? Tsunade raised her head at this time, looked at Chen Tian's solemn face, and said slowly, because this incident happened too suddenly, Chen Tian directly asked everyone to return to their posts in order to deal with the enemies who might come at any time. Only Tsunade and his subordinates who were in charge of medical treatment were still in the core area, and now Tsunade was sitting in the study with Chen Tian. You overestimated that guy Whitebird, or you could say you underestimated him. Chen Tian shook his head and said slowly, how could that guy not see that this was a conspiracy of the beasts? But he didn't care whether it was Kato's conspiracy or any other reason. He only knew that his son died in the hands of Orochimaru, that's all. He wanted to avenge his son, so he headed towards our Bankai pirates. According to the old guy's idea, he should want to kill Orochimaru first to avenge his son, and then get rid of the scheming Kato of the beasts. So this time, no matter what, we must face two emperors at the same time, and one of them is the strongest guy on the sea. When Chen Tian said this, his face became more and more solemn. Although Whitebird was old at this time, he was not the dying Whitebird 3 years later. He is still very powerful now, and even he himself is not sure to deal with Whitebird who has the tremor fruit. Moreover, the Whitebird pirates have many strong men under their command, including the captain of the 1st Division, Phoenix Marco, the captain of the 3rd Division, Diamond Jaws, the captain of the 4th Division, Thatch, and the captain of the 5th Division, Flower Sword Vista. These are all strong men who can stand alone in the new world, plus the 3 big names of the Beast Pirates, 5 top-level real fighters. With the strength of the Bankai pirates, it will be very troublesome to deal with them. In this case, we might as well fight them head-on. With our current strength, there should be no problem. Tsunade glared at this time and spoke directly. It is natural for her to be confident. Although there has been no large-scale battle in the Bankai pirates in the past 5 years, their strength has greatly increased. It's just that the news is relatively hidden, and people outside have not been able to know it. But she is one of the top leaders of the Bankai pirates, so she naturally knows everything. The 3 ninjas, together with Kakashi, Might Guy, Minato and Kushina, can fight even against 2 of the 4 emperor's fleets, and they may even have the upper hand. Especially Jiraiya and Minato, they have made rapid progress since coming to this world and have learned the 3-color domineering. Now they should have no problem dealing with one of the 4 emperors. With the presence of Chen Tian, dealing with 2 of the 4 emperors is no problem. Moreover, even if all of them are defeated and are no match for the other side, they can retreat to the 10,000 Worlds continent. If those guys have the guts to go to the 10,000 Worlds continent, then let's see if my guy can beat them to death after opening the 8 gates. Of course, this is the last resort, and it will not be used easily under normal circumstances. But even if it is used, it doesn't matter. With Tsunade here, and the backup plan that Chen Tian has specially prepared in the past few years, it is no problem to cure Might Guy. Chapter 262, Navy Actions. We have to fight, but in this situation, I'm worried that we have to deal with more than just 2 of the 4 emperors. How could the old man Sengoku from the Navy miss such a good opportunity? He will probably gather the Navy's fighting power at this time to attack our 10,000 Worlds pirates. In this way, we will have to face 3 major forces. It may not be so easy to win. What Chen Tian was really worried about was the old man Sengoku from the Navy. If he missed such an opportunity to destroy the 10,000 Worlds pirates, he would not be called a wise general. And because of the previous battle in the Golden City, the Navy had a certain understanding of its own strength, so as long as they sent out troops, they would definitely be the top combat force. If nothing unexpected happened, the old man Garp would also join this battle. Chen Tian even doubted whether Marshal Sengoku would take action himself. After all, their 10,000 Worlds pirates killed 2 celestial dragons. Compared with maintaining the stability of the forces in the first half of the Grand Line, it would be more important to deal with the 10,000 world's pirates, especially for the celestial dragons in the world government. We have to fight to know the outcome. There is no way they can break through the Wanji continent. We have to put the real battlefield somewhere else. Tsunade looked carefully at the sea map in front of Chen Tian at this time, and then said, Chen Tian, aren't there a few abandoned small islands around our Wanji continent? Why not put the battle there? We can gather strength, and not give the other side a chance to break through one by one. We can also fight the other side head on without damaging our Wanji continent. There is nothing wrong with what Tsunade said. Chen Tian actually thought about it just now. Tsunade was a Hokage, and her overall view is quite strong. And her idea at the moment is also very simple. Concentrate on defense, fight a perfect defensive battle, and then directly launch a counterattack after repelling the opponent. At that time, the islands belonging to other forces can also be seized and merged with the Wanji continent. And what they lost is just a few useless islands around the Wanji continent that were abandoned by the Wanji pirates. Okay, that's it. Chen Tian was silent for a long time, and then he made up his mind. Tsunade, you immediately notify the others, let them all leave the islands they are guarding, go to the abandoned islands, and then prepare to defend against the opponent's attack together. After issuing a series of orders, Tsunade responded and left immediately to execute. She also knew that this war was of great importance and would affect the pattern of the new world in the next few years, so she didn't dare to be careless at all. At the same time, there were many people in the Navy headquarters. Marshal Sengoku, there is urgent news from the new world. A Navy soldier walked quickly into the office of Marshal Sengoku, saluted, and said with a serious face. At this time, in addition to Marshal Sengoku, there were Garp and Vice Admiral Churu in the office. The three of them, the older generation, often had tea together, and now was the time for afternoon inspection. Even the hard-working Sengoku sometimes took a break from his busy schedule. Of course, it was mainly because Garp, the unruly old guy, came over and affected his work. Although no one knew whether it was true or not, Marshal Zanjiuo said so anyway, and no one dared to doubt him. Tell me, what happened in the new century? Marshal Zanjiuo also put down the teacup in his hand at this time, looked at the Navy soldier seriously, and said in a deep voice. Reporting to Marshal Sengoku, the New World has received news that the Whitebird pirates and the Beasts pirates have taken action. Both of them are targeting the Bankei pirates. According to intelligence, it was the Bankei pirates who killed members of the Whitebird pirates, which angered Whitebird, and the reason why Kaido, the Beasts, took action is currently unknown. Hearing this, Sengoku's face changed instantly. You mean that 3 of the 4 emperors in the new world have made moves, and it seems that they are preparing for a war, and Whitebird and Kaido are going to join forces to attack the Bankei pirates? This matter is incredible. The 4 emperors are the most powerful forces in the new world. It is precisely because of the existence of the 4 emperors, coupled with the countless pirates in the new world, that their navy has found it difficult to gain a foothold in the new world. After all the hard work, they have only established a few branches. And now 3 of the 4 emperors have made moves, and they are going to fight a big war. From the current intelligence, it is true that the Whitebird pirates and the Beasts pirates are going to join forces to attack the Bank of the World's pirates. The Navy soldier did not dare to speculate anything, and could only speak truthfully according to the existing intelligence. Okay, I know, you can leave first. After letting the Navy soldier leave, Sengoku crossed his hands in front of him and said seriously, the Bank of the World's pirates killed Whitebird's son, so it is not surprising that Whitebird attacked the Bank of the World's pirates. It is indeed the temper of the old guy Whitebird, but Kaido is also involved, which is worth thinking about. The Bank of the World's pirates, although their strength has greatly increased in the past 5 years, they have never done anything high profile, so they will not take the initiative to provoke Whitebird. Therefore, this is probably Kaido's calculation. He wants Whitebird to fight against the Bank of the World's pirates with him, and then kill them all in one go. Vice Admiral Churu quickly gave her analysis, and her analysis was quite accurate. Hahaha, I think it's because Chen Tian is too arrogant, so he was attacked by the other 2 parties. Whitebird and Kado are not easy to deal with. This time Chen will suffer. Garb, whose injuries have been fully recovered, continued to eat his biscuits and laughed. Although he fought with Chen and almost killed someone, he still admired Chen. The previous battle was not about right or wrong, but just different positions. Now he will not think about so many conspiracies and tricks. In his opinion, Chen is just too arrogant. At this time, Vice Admiral Chiru's eyes flashed with a light. She turned her head and looked at Marshal Sengoku and whispered, "Sengoku, this is an opportunity for our navy, an opportunity for us to truly enter the new world." "You mean, with the help of Whitebird and Kado's power, we can divide up the bank of the world's pirates and get rid of one of the 4 emperors of the new world?" Sengoku reacted immediately, then nodded and said, "This idea is feasible, but we need to mobilize enough combat power. The bank of the world's pirates are not easy to deal with. The 3 admirals plus Garb, this combat power is enough." Vice Admiral Chiru gave his opinion. This time, 2 emperors attacked the bank of the world's pirates together, which had enough combat power. With the addition of the 3 admirals of the navy and the navy hero Garb, it was definitely enough. After a long silence, Sengoku shook his head and said, "Every time we think we have enough, Chen will do something that surprises us. This time we must make sure that nothing goes wrong. I will notify the world government and ask them to send out CP's agents to deal with the bank of the world's pirates. As for the navy, it will be temporarily handed over to Zephyr. I will personally lead the navy to attack the bank of the world's pirates. You know, after getting rid of the bank of the world's pirates this time, we still need to seize the territory of the bank of the world's pirates from Whitebird and Kado's men. So this time we must have enough power to deter the opponent." Marshal Sengoku stood up suddenly and clenched his fists at the same time. "Immediately notify Aokiji and Kizaru and let them lead a part of the navy vice admirals and soldiers respectively to the new world to reunite with Akainu." Chapter 263. The battle begins. Abandoned by the Bankai pirates, they were put on a small island. At this moment, there is a huge room on the island, and there are many pirates under the Bankai pirates in the room. Among them are Kakashi and his people, and there are also some other ordinary members guarding here together. After all, the Bankai pirates are now facing 2 of the 4 emperors, and the navy that is likely to attack, so they must not be careless at all. I say, Lord Minato, do we need to be so cautious? In the past few years, we have also dealt with many pirates, but they are just famous. How can a guy called Whitebird be stronger than those pirates? Isn't it better to just attack them directly? Some newcomers who have just joined the Bankai pirates seem a little bored to stay here. In their opinion, Whitebird is not to be feared at all. The Bankai pirates are so powerful now, what else do they need to worry about? Whitebird and Kato? Don't underestimate any of your opponents. Whitebird is definitely not one of those minions. Although I have not seen this hero on the sea, the man that even the captain admires is definitely not an opponent you can underestimate. Kakashi sat in the room, slowly opening his eyes with a solemn look. At this critical moment, he would never take it lightly. Moreover, in the past few years, he has heard a lot about Whitebird's reputation, being called the most powerful man in the world, with the power to destroy the entire world. As the saying goes, there is no false reputation under a great name. Whitebird, who is so expected by the world, must be very powerful. Whitebird at this time, an ordinary member walked quickly to Kakashi's side and said solemnly, "Lord Kakashi, the movements of the Whitebird pirates have been found out. They are divided into 3 teams and attack the 3 abandoned islands around them. If nothing unexpected happens, the one attacking Lord Orochimaru is definitely led by Whitebird himself. Their main target is Lord Orochimaru, and the other 2 fleets are led by Diamond Jaws, the captain of the Whitebird Pirates 3rd Division, and Flower Sword Vista, the captain of the 5th Division." This member told all the information he had obtained, and after hearing the information he brought, many people secretly breathed a sigh of relief. As long as they didn't face Whitebird directly, they didn't have to worry about anything. Moreover, the defense force on Orochimaru's side was the strongest, and it should be able to withstand Whitebird for a period of time. At that time, other islands will definitely provide support. This can be said to be the best situation. After all, one of Minato and Jiraiya has been following Orochimaru to guard against Whitebird's surprise attack. As for the other abandoned islands, they didn't know much, but they thought their strength should not be weak. After all, many of the people in the Bankai pirates were top level warriors. Get ready to fight. Although it's not Whitebird, he is still a famous pirate in the New World. He is the captain of the Whitebird pirates. No one can take him lightly. Do you understand? Kakashi stood up and said seriously. Yes. As Kakashi stood up, all the people he waved stood up, and everyone's eyes were burning with fighting spirit. On another abandoned island, Tsunade punched a huge mammoth. She had already started fighting here. The speed of the beast pirates was much faster than that of Whitebird. The ones attacking the island she was guarding were Droutjack and 2 other top level real fighters. Although Droutjack's strength was not very strong, he was really tough. Even with Tsunade's strange strength, it was not easy to deal with this iron fool in a short time. Moreover, Droutjack's brain is also very simple, but it is precisely because of his simple mind that he will be so desperate when he rushes to kill. It can only be said that he is worthy of being the fool who dares to go up and make trouble when facing retired Marshal Sengoku and others in the original plot. Get out of the way quickly, a woman is blocking my way. Is this looking for death? After Jack blocked Tsunade's fist, he let out a huge roar. He was very upset now. He thought it would be a fierce battle, but when he came, he found that he had to deal with a woman. Tsunade blasted out a strange force again, but it was still blocked by Droutjack. Don't think that Jack is weak, just because you read the plot. The key is to see what kind of opponents he faces. In the original plot, this guy went crazy and directly faced Buddha Sengoku, General Fujitora and the Great Counselor Lieutenant General Churu. This terrifying Linoop is not to mention Jack. Even if you change to one of the 4 emperors, it may not be good. 100 Healings Technique. Creation and Regeneration. After Tsunade took a deep breath, she became more and more irritable. She knew how powerful she was, but it was not enough to injure and kill Droutjack. So she had to have a stronger power. The moment she finished taking a deep breath, she shot out directly, leaving a few after images in the air. She jumped up and appeared above the big mammoth. She clenched her fists tightly and fell towards the mammoth fiercely. The terrifying power instantly hit the mammoth transformed by Droutjack. This punch was more violent than anything in the previous battle with Jack, because at this time she had already exploded with all her strength. Armament color, hardening. Jack also felt the crisis. Although he was a fool, he was definitely not. Okay, this guy is stupid, but he still has a sense of combat, otherwise he would not be able to sit in the position of the 3 big bosses of the Beast's pirates. Moreover, his attainment in armament haki is not low either. The people of the Beast's pirates don't know if it's because of the bad company, but starting from Kato, the guys in this pirate group are very resistant to punches. Super strength punch. Tsunade felt like she punched something harder than steel, leaving only a white mark on Jack's back. However, she, who has activated the 100 Healings technique, won't think about so many things. Anyway, her recovery ability is even more terrifying than Chen Tian's. Just go ahead and hit it. No matter who it is, she just needs to kill the opponent completely. Just when the second punch of the top and the bottom was about to fall, Jack suddenly changed into a half-beast form, and then quickly dodged the falling fist. He has now reacted. If he maintains a completely beast form, his defense is top-notch, but when facing the flexible Tsunade, he can only passively take the beating. If he wanted to fight back, he had to make himself more flexible. However, what Jack obviously didn't expect was that even if he was half beast, he wouldn't be very flexible. He would definitely not be as flexible as Tsunade. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 264, War. Then, Droutjack took out 2 sickle-shaped weapons from behind his neck. He planned to fight Tsunade head-on. But at the moment he took out the weapons, Tsunade's eyes flashed with a chill, and then a cold voice came out of her mouth. Since you dare to come, be prepared to die. The moment these words came out, Tsunade's eyes were completely locked on Jack, and blue chakra emanated from her hands. Every punch would cause high damage to the enemy. Or to be more precise, it should be a huge force that crushed everything. Just a woman, I must kill you. Jack felt Tsunade's lock, but he still had no intention of retreating. He rushed towards Tsunade with knives in both hands. But at this time, Tsunade flashed and appeared directly in front of Jack's right. Then, with huge power and amazing speed in his hands, he suddenly punched out, and the first punch landed on Jack's lower abdomen. Before Drought Jack could react, his second punch had already been punched out, this time aiming at Drought Jack's right arm. The two fists, which were so fast that only the after images were left, burst out like a violent storm at this moment, and the power of each punch was extremely powerful. The hurricane brought by the two fists blew in all directions, wrapping her and Jack the Drought in her heart. As one of the three ninjas of Konoha, Tsunade's strength is definitely not weak, and with her full burst of power, her fighting power will be even more terrifying. Hey, is this woman crazy? Fuzifeli saw Tsunade's attack on Jack while fighting with others and couldn't help but speak. That kind of attack method has no defense at all, and the movements are full of flaws. As long as you catch a loophole, that woman will be dead. In his eyes, Tsunade is indeed a madman. That kind of crazy attack method is all flaws from the perspective of outsiders, but he will never understand that only those who really fight with Tsunade will feel the terrifying pressure. That kind of continuous violent attack like a violent storm, and the violent aura emanating from her body, even if you can catch the flaws of the opponent, are not something that ordinary people can attack. Moreover, even if Tsunade is hit, the opponent can recover completely in less than a second, so there is no pressure or need to defend. The current situation on this island is indeed not favorable for the people of the Beast's Pirates led by Jack, because the people brought by Tsunade also have good combat effectiveness. Although they are not as good as Tsunade and Jack, they are definitely not weak. At this time, Fukushifeli suddenly showed a sneer, and while responding to the attacks of everyone, he said coldly, although the strength of you guys is not weak, we have never underestimated the combat effectiveness of the 10,000 world's pirates. The reason why we appear here is just to delay you. In fact, except for the army, led by Governor Kado himself, the purpose of others is just to delay time. On another island adjacent to Tsunade, Jiraiya led his people to confront the people of the Beast's Pirates. It has to be said that there are really not many main combat forces on this island. It can almost be said that there is only Jiraiya as a strong man. The rest of the people are basically just soy sauce, and it is estimated that they can't even beat some officers of the navy. The group of people on the opposite side are Quinn, one of the three big names of the Beast's Pirates, and Black Maria from the Shin fight. There are also many pirates from the Beast's Pirates, among which there are nearly 10 pirates with bounties of over 100 million. It can be said that the Beast's Pirates are out in full force this time. There are even samurai and ninjas from Wano country among these people. It seems that Kado intends to directly destroy the Bank of the World's Pirates, so the troops of the United Kingdom have been mobilized. In this way, the number of people first suppresses Jiraiya, and although these pirates are not strong, their strength is not weak, so it will be very troublesome to deal with them. On this island, in addition to Jiraiya, the only one who can be called a high-end combat force is the captain of the Kiyomi Pirates, Kiyomi Aina. He joined the Bank of the World's Pirates when they just started recruiting people 5 years ago, and now his bounty has been raised to 420 million baileys. In fact, his strength is not too strong, but as a pirate group under the Wanji Pirates, it is more valued. Master Jiraiya, what should we do now? I can only stop the Triceratops at most, and I'm not sure of winning. Gihan looked solemn at this time. He was originally in charge of the outer area. Because the two emperors came, he gathered his men here to guard the island. But the current situation. Don't worry, Aina boy. Jiraiya's eyes condensed, and he spoke directly. We have support coming later, and it will arrive soon, but Chen Tian underestimated us too much. This is Jiraiya's confidence. After learning the three-color domineering, his strength has become stronger, and he is fully confident that he can guard the island alone. In fact, it is not that Chen Tian underestimates Jiraiya, but because in the past 5 years, Jiraiya has never taken action once. In addition, with his personality, even if he has mastered a more powerful power, he will not show off and tell others everywhere. Therefore, even if they were members of the Bankai Pirates, no one else knew what level Jiraiya's true strength was at. When Ghost Hyena heard that support was coming, he was slightly relieved. Although he didn't know how strong Jiraiya was now, he was still quite confident about supporting him later. As long as the support could arrive in time, the situation here would be much better. Then I will help Master Jiraiya stop the Triceratops. As long as we delay the time and wait for the arrival of follow-up support, our chances of winning will increase greatly. Ghost Eye clenched the iron rod in his hand, and the black armament haki quickly wrapped around it, turning the iron rod into a heavy black color. At this moment, his right eye was also painted with a strange dark yellow color, and the whole person looked terrifying. Ghost Eye's armament haki was very outstanding, and he was born with a pair of strange eyes that would change color once he focused, so he was replaced by Ghost Eye by others. And oh boy, I don't need your help. Let me take care of this battle. After saying this, Jiraiya's body was surrounded by a breeze, and he flew towards the other members of the Beast's Pirates. A strong aura gushed out of his body, washing over the group of people in the Beast's Pirates. After Chen Tian learned the air dance technique, he naturally wouldn't use it, so after demonstrating it in front of everyone, he taught it to some people at their request, including Jiraiya. As soon as his aura came out, Quin's face changed slightly, and he sneered and said, "Jiraiya of the 10,000 Worlds Pirates. I heard of your name 5 years ago, but can you really stop me now?" Hearing Quin's words, Jiraiya didn't react, but said calmly, "You'll know if you have the ability to try it. Since you dare to attack my 10,000 Worlds Pirates, then be prepared to die here." After a low shout, Jiraiya fell from the air in an instant, and then rushed down Quin with a gust of wind. With his hands, he quickly formed seals at a speed that could not be seen by the naked eye, and a huge gust of wind swept forward in an instant. At the same time, his 10 fingers on both feet were also jumping rapidly. After the jumping ended, hundreds of lightning bolts were also accompanied by the hurricane, rushing forward. This is a move that belongs to him alone, using the toes. Even in the entire Naruto world, only Jiraiya can master it. Seeing the sudden surge of power, Sasuke directly turned into a huge Triceratops, running the armament haki to try to withstand Jiraiya's attack. As an ancient animal type devil fruit ability user, he is also a very resistant type, but he obviously underestimated Jiraiya's strength. The Triceratops with the wind and thunder directly screamed, and then there were many traces of the wind flowing down, and wounds from the lightning bombardment on his body. Seeing such a scene, Quin's face finally changed completely. He didn't expect Jiraiya to be so powerful. No wonder the Wanji pirates could destroy Wango 5 years ago. I think Jiraiya's strength was not weak at that time. But he was wrong about this. Although Jiraiya's strength at that time was not weak, it was far from what it is now. Don't be careless. No matter what, the other party is one of the high-ranking members of the 10,000 Worlds Pirates. Isn't it normal to have such strength? Black Mariah also walked towards Jiraiya at this time, and when he was selling cloth, his whole body began to change and turned into a huge wolf spider. He is the ability user of the ancient species of the spider fruit, the Formatro's ancient wolf spider form. Although she is a woman, she is also a combat PowerPoint in the Beast's Pirates. However, Jiraiya's expression did not fluctuate at all. What he wanted was to deal with all the people brought by Quin alone. Just as he said just now, the storm and thunder were whistling between the sky and the earth. While the wind and thunder were roaring, Jiraiya was also flashing wildly among the people of the Beast's Pirates. He would take away such a life every time he attacked. As for the people of the Beast's Pirates, it was not easy to attack him, and there were several attacks that were not strong enough and could not even break its own defense. Ninja's physical fitness is not strong, but they can use chakra for defense, not to mention that Jiraiya's current physical strength is not inferior to the strong in this world. Don't look at him being lazy all day, but if you want to show real strength, in the Wanji Pirates, there are only 2 people under the morning sky, he and Minato. In addition to the existence of the Sage Mode, his defense has reached a terrifying level. Even if there are such beings as Quinn and Black Mariah, it is difficult to cause any substantial damage to Jiraiya without bursting out all their strength. But Jiraiya's own strength is even stronger, and it is not an easy thing to seize the opportunity to counterattack. Exclamation mark. Especially Quinn, he is an ancient Brachiosaurus fruit ability user, with strong recovery and defense, and even very strong in strength. But he has a very obvious shortcoming, that is, his movements are not agile enough, and his speed can't keep up. It's really difficult for him to attack Jiraiya, who has mastered various ninjutsu. At that time, Black Mariah kept chasing Jiraiya and attacking him at a fast speed and with strong strength, which caused Jiraiya a lot of trouble. But at this time, the beast's pirates kept shortening the distance. Before long, they were close to each other and then surrounded Jiraiya one by one, controlling him. No matter how fast they were, as long as they didn't leave air strikes, Jiraiya couldn't escape. You can't escape now. Black Mariah flashed and approached Jiraiya, and then he kept attacking, just to prevent the opponent from reopening the encirclement. When has this immortal ever thought of escaping? Jiraiya said, and then he blocked Black Mariah's attack with his hands, and at the same time, thunder surged along the ground towards the huge wolf spider. This kind of large-sized animal type devil fruit ability user will have a very obvious disadvantage, that is, because of their huge size, some attacks cannot be dodged at all. But the animal type devil fruit gives them strong vitality, and in many cases they can choose to bear the opponent's attack, and then use the above hand changing method to counterattack. But once the opponent's attack intensity exceeds the limit they can bear, then they can only bear it, and passively take the beating. Mariah, get out of the way. Brachiosaurus bomb. Just as Black Mariah and Jiraiya were fighting, a loud roar suddenly sounded, and Quinn in the form of a Brachiosaurus fell from a height with his head facing Jiraiya. The huge impact of the fall, coupled with the huge size of the Brachiosaurus and the armed color domineering that Quinn mastered, made this move extremely destructive. Hearing this shout, Black Mariah even ignored the threat of being bombarded by thunder and immediately chose to retreat. Compared with Jiraiya's lightning attack, she was more worried about being affected by Quinn's move. If she was hit by that huge body, even with her ancient vitality, she would be seriously injured if she didn't die. However, he retreated, but Jiraiya was too late at this time. He looked up at the Brachiosaurus that was about to fall on him, and his whole body suddenly burst out with extraordinary strength. Then he raised his hands, and the power of wind and thunder gathered crazily in his eyes at this moment, and thunder was also flashing. Boom boom. A huge sound spread in all directions. Countless masters who had lifted up the island began to tremble because of the landing of the 10,000 dragons. Countless spider web-like cracks appeared on the ground and continued to spread in all directions. Just the shaking of the island and the cracks on the ground showed how exaggerated the impact force was. The battle is almost over now. We were just planning to cut it, but now it seems that we can directly take over the island. I don't know how the core leader of the 10,000 world's pirates will feel when his high-level leaders are crushed to death. Black Mariah returned to her normal state at this time, and her charming smile appeared on her face. In his opinion, being hit hard by Li Yan was really a big deal. Even if Jiraiya was strong and had strong physical defense, he would never be able to survive. At least he would lose his combat effectiveness and let them slaughter him. There are people who can carry Quinn and remain unscathed in this episode, but he doesn't think Jiraiya has such strength. Ahem. At this moment, the doctor's coughing sound turned into a slow ulcer, and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. Then, his huge body was lifted up by the strong wind. Jiraiya. At this moment, a special light flashed in his eyes. He controlled the strong wind with one hand, as if he was holding up Kui, standing on the ground. Very good attack. I almost let my guard down. Naturally, he was also somewhat fortunate. Fortunately, after seeing this huge body, he chose the wind tunnel with the strongest penetration ability and the thunder movement with the strongest single point damage, instead of using other ninjutsu, otherwise he might not be able to suppress Kui. Since I have already endured your attack, it's not my turn next. Thunder animation rakage. After the big congratulation, Jiraiya became crazy and threw Kui out with struggle, and then the power of wind and thunder surged on his body, and he rushed into the crowd with a flash. This time, his speed was extremely fast, and it looked like countless Jiraiya appeared at the same time. The strong wind and thunder continued to expand as his voice flashed, until this side was completely covered on the ground. The thunder wrapped around him also became extremely violent at this moment, and it attacked all around without distinguishing between enemies and friends. However, besides Jiraiya himself, there were only the people of the beast pirates around, so the indiscriminate attack would not harm friendly forces. These 5 years have not been in vain. After a lot of greasy and various attempts, he has improved and integrated all his previous numbers, and the essence of the two worlds has become stronger. After a long time, the constraints of the outside pirate group came from Matt's direction, and what he saw were countless pirates lying on the ground, either with black feet or slowly scratched by wind blades. At this time, Quinn and Black Maria finally recovered, and were hit by the wind and thunder again, and Temuzeng was panting and looking at the guy with wind and thunder surging around his body. Your support came quite quickly. I can solve the battle here. Jiraiya also discovered the arrival of the constraints and said immediately, on the third island, Orochimaru is responsible for the real island. Although there are not many people here, and they don't have any subordinates, the leader of the pirate group. But don't underestimate the people here. They are few in number, because everyone here has strong fighting power, especially Orochimaru and Minato. Both of them are truly strong. Shumeng, when do you think those guys will come? According to the situation, it should be almost time. Orochimaru looked at the scroll in his hand and asked Minato beside him. If it weren't for the sudden attack of Kado and Whitebird, Chen Tian ordered them to come here to guard the island. He would have done his own research long ago. But since someone is coming, there is nothing he can do. He can only fight with the other party reluctantly. But he has been here for a long time now, and the beast's pirates have not arrived yet. He can't wait to go back and do his own research. When he attacked the beast's pirates before, he couldn't catch many things. The devil fruit ability user has just studied some directions and is about to go further. Minato looked at him speechlessly. Orochimaru didn't realize who had started the fight. We'll be there soon. Kado will definitely come here because you are here, Minato said calmly. Not long after he finished speaking, the clouds in the sky suddenly moved, and at the same time, a huge pirate ship appeared in their business, with many pirates standing on it. Then a huge dragon head was born from the object in the sky, and a team of dragons looked at Orochimaru and others below with contempt, as if they were deceived. A general voice sounded at this moment. It seems that Chen Tian is hiding in the 10,000 worlds. In this case, I will thank you, and then go and kill Chen Tian, that kid. Seeing the dragon in the sky venting something, he stood up all of a sudden, looked at the sky seriously and said coldly, finally here, but if you want to fight the captain, you have to get past us first. As soon as the flower shadow fell, Minato threw out hundreds of shurikens, flying in all directions, and then the voice suddenly appeared behind Kado, and Aluozu and smashed it fiercely. You bastard who overestimates your own abilities. Kado looked at the Minato who suddenly appeared, holding a small ball to attack him. For his current size, any Rasengan in his hand is not even as good as a small ball. So he made a mocking sound directly, and then took a deep breath. Cooking. In an instant, he spewed out a terrifying wind blade from his mouth, which hit Minato's body fiercely. Even if Minato was strong in the air, he could not use the force, so he could not stop the hot wind blowing area, and flew out backwards. When he was about to hit the distant mountain, he turned even if he used it. Your life index reappeared beside Orochimaru. I don't have much chakra in this shadow clone, and it seems that I need to consume it now. Orochimaru was angry, and a powerful chakra burst out from his body, and countless giant pythons suddenly appeared in his hands. Attack, Kado. These giant pythons bit out many sheng music viciously, and then suddenly dragged down one. That's right, the mountain here is just a shadow clone, because he captured the devil fruit ability users under Kado's command for a search, so he was fixed by Kado. At the same time, he also deleted Whitebird, and the people in the pirate group were also pushed by Whitebird, so he could only split a shadow clone to lead the four emperors to two different islands to fight separately. Chapter 265 The Powerful Jiraiya. Jiraiya did not react to Quinn's words, but said calmly, you will know, if you have the ability, to do it, after you try it. Since you dare to attack my 1G pirates, then be prepared to die here. After a low shout, Jiraiya fell from the air in an instant, and then rushed down Quinn with a gust of wind. His two hands quickly formed seals at a speed that could not be seen by the naked eye, and a huge gust of wind swept forward in an instant. At the same time, his 10 fingers on both feet were also jumping rapidly. After the jumping ended, hundreds of lightning bolts were also accompanied by the hurricane, rushing forward. This is a move that belongs to him alone. Using his toes, even in the entire Naruto world, only Jiraiya can master it. Seeing the sudden surge of power, Sasuke directly turned into a huge triceratops, running the armed color domineering to try to withstand Jiraiya's attack. As an animal type ancient devil fruit ability user, he is also a very resistant type, but he obviously underestimated Jiraiya's strength. The wind and thunder damaged Triceratops screamed, and then there were many traces of wind and lightning on his body. Seeing this scene, Quinn's face finally changed completely. He didn't expect Jiraiya to be so powerful. No wonder the 10,000 Worlds pirates could destroy the 10,000 Worlds 5 years ago. I think Jiraiya's strength was not weak at that time, but he was wrong about this. Although Jiraiya's strength was indeed not weak at that time, it was far less than now. Don't be careless. After all, the other party is one of the top leaders of the 10,000 Worlds pirates. Isn't it normal to have such strength? Black Mariah also walked towards Jiraiya at this time, and when he was selling cloth, his whole person began to change and turned into a huge wolf spider. He is the ability user of the ancient species of the spider fruit, the ancient wolf spider form of the format Rose. Although he is a woman, she is also a combat PowerPoint in the 100 Beasts pirates. However, Jiraiya's expression did not fluctuate at all. What he wanted was to deal with all the people brought by Quinn alone, just as he said just now. The storm and thunder roared between the sky and the earth. While the wind and thunder were roaring, Jiraiya was also flashing wildly among the people of the Beast Pirates. He would take away such a life every time he attacked. As for the people of the Beast Pirates, it was not easy to attack him, and there were several attacks that were not strong enough and could not even break its own defense. The physical fitness of ninjas is not strong, but they can use chakra for defense. Moreover, Jiraiya's current physical strength is not inferior to the strong in this world. Don't look at him being lazy all day, but if you want to get real strength, in the 10,000 Worlds pirates, under the morning sky, there are only him and Minato. Coupled with the existence of the Sage mode, his defense has reached a terrifying level. Even if there are such beings as Quinn and Black Mariah, if they don't burst out with all their strength, it is difficult to cause any substantial damage to Jiraiya. But Jiraiya's own strength is even stronger. If he wants to seize the opportunity to counterattack, it is not an easy thing. Especially Quinn, he is an ancient Brachiosaurus fruit, with strong recovery and defense, and even very strong in strength. But he has a very obvious shortcoming, that is, his movements are not agile enough, and his speed can't keep up. It's really difficult for him to attack Jiraiya, who has mastered various ninjutsu. Black Mariah kept chasing Jiraiya to attack. Her speed was not slow, and her strength was not weak, which caused Jiraiya a lot of trouble. But at this time, the distance between the Beasts pirates kept shortening. It didn't take long for them to get close to each other, and then formed a circle after another, controlling Jiraiya in it. No matter how fast they are, as long as they don't leave airstrikes directly, Jiraiya can't escape. You can't escape now. Black Mariah flashed and approached Jiraiya, and then she kept attacking, just to prevent the opponent from having the opportunity to break out of the encirclement. When has this immortal ever thought of escaping? Jiraiya said, and then formed seals with his hands to block the attack of Black Mariah. At the same time, thunder surged along the ground and went towards the huge wolf spider. This kind of large-sized animal type devil fruit ability user will have a very obvious disadvantage. That is, because of their huge size, some attacks cannot be dodged at all. However, the animal type devil fruit gives them strong vitality. In many cases, they can choose to withstand the opponent's attack, use the method of exchanging injuries for injuries, and then counterattack. However, once the opponent's attack intensity exceeds the limit they can bear, they can only withstand it and passively take the beating. Mariah, Get out of the way, Brachiosaurus bomb. Just as Black Maria and Jiraiya were fighting, a loud shout suddenly sounded, and Quinn in the form of Brachiosaurus fell from a high place with his head facing Jiraiya. The huge impact of the fall, coupled with the huge size of the Brachiosaurus and Quinn's own armed color domineering, made this move extremely destructive. Hearing this shout, Black Maria even ignored the threat of being bombarded by thunder and immediately chose to retreat. Compared with Jiraiya's lightning attack, she was more worried about being affected by Quinn's move. If she was hit by that huge body, even with her ancient vitality, she would be seriously injured if not dead. However, she retreated, but Jiraiya was too late at this time. He raised his head and looked at the Brachiosaur that was about to fall on him, and his whole body suddenly burst out with extraordinary strength. Chapter 266 Orochimaru's Shadow Clone. Then he raised his hands. The power of wind and thunder gathered crazily in his eyes, and there was also a flash of thunder. Boom. A huge sound spread in all directions. Countless smoke and dust rose, and the island trembled because of the landing of the Brachiosaurus. Countless spider web-like cracks appeared on the ground and continued to spread in all directions. Just the shaking of the island and the cracks on the ground can show how exaggerated the impact force was just now. The battle is almost over now. It was originally intended to be used as a diversion, but now it seems that we can directly seize this island. I don't know how Chen Tian, the core of the 10,000 Worlds Pirates, feels when he knows that his senior leaders have been crushed to death. Black Maria returned to her normal state at this time, and her charming smile appeared on her face. In her opinion, being hit hard by Quinn, even if Jiraiya is powerful and has strong physical defense, it will definitely not be easy. At least he will lose his combat effectiveness and let them slaughter him. There are people who can withstand Quinn's attack without any injury, but she doesn't think Jiraiya has such strength. Ahem. At this moment, a cough sounded, and Quinn, who turned into a Brachiosaurus, actually coughed up a mouthful of blood, and then his huge body was lifted up by the strong wind. Jiraiya's eyes flashed with a special light at this moment, and he controlled the strong wind with one hand, as if he was holding Quinn up, standing on the ground. Very good attack. I almost let my guard down. Naturally, he was also somewhat fortunate that, after seeing this huge body, he chose the wind escape with the strongest penetrating ability and the lightning escape with the strongest single point damage, instead of using other ninjutsu, otherwise he might not be able to suppress Quinn. Since I have already withstood your attack, it's not my turn next. Thunder escape 10,000 thunder attraction. After shouting, Jiraiya frantically used the wind escape to throw Quinn out, and then the power of wind and thunder surged in his body, and he rushed into the crowd in a flash. This time, his speed was extremely fast, and it looked like countless Jiraiyas appeared at the same time. The strong wind and thunder continued to expand as his figure flashed, until it completely covered this world. The thunder wrapped around him became extremely violent at this moment, and it attacked the surroundings without distinguishing between enemies and friends. However, besides Jiraiya himself, there were only people from the Beast Pirates around, so the indiscriminate attack would not harm friendly forces. These 5 years have not been in vain for Jiraiya. After a lot of travel and various attempts, he has improved all his previous ninjutsu, and merged the essence of the two worlds to become more powerful. After a long time, the support of the 10,000 Worlds Pirates came from the direction of the dock, and what he saw were countless pirates lying on the ground, either charred or scratched by wind blades. At this time, Quinn and Black Maria finally recovered, and were panting as they looked at the guy with wind and thunder surging around his body. Your support came quite quickly. I can handle the battle here by myself. Jiraiya also noticed the arrival of the support and immediately spoke. In addition to Jiraiya's place, the third island is guarded by Orochimaru. Although there are not many people here, and they don't have any help from subordinate pirate groups. But don't underestimate the people here. The reason why there are few people is that everyone here has strong fighting power, especially Orochimaru and Minato, both of whom are truly strong. Minato, when do you think those guys will come? According to the situation, it should be almost time. Orochimaru looked at the scroll in his hand and asked Minato beside him. If it weren't for the sudden attack of Kaido and Whitebird, Chen Tian ordered them to come here to guard this island. He would have done his own research long ago. But since someone is coming, there is nothing he can do, and he can only fight with the other party reluctantly. But he has been here for a long time now, and the beast's pirates have not arrived yet. He can't wait to go back and do his own research. When he attacked the beast's pirates before, he couldn't catch a few animal type devil fruit ability users. He just studied some directions and was about to go further. Minato looked at him speechlessly. Orochimaru had no idea at all. Who was the reason for this fight? We'll be there soon. With Kado's personality, he will definitely come here, because you are here, Minato said calmly. Not long after he finished speaking, the clouds in the sky suddenly moved, and at the same time, a huge pirate ship appeared in their sight, with many pirates standing on it. Then, a huge dragon head suddenly stretched out from the clouds in the sky, and a pair of dragon eyes looked at Orochimaru and others below with contempt. At this moment, a figure like muffled thunder sounded. It seems that Chen Tian is hiding in Wanji Island. If that's the case, I'll kill you first, and then I'll kill Chen Tian. Seeing the dragon appear in the sky, Minato stood up all of a sudden, looked at the sky with some seriousness, and said in a cold voice, "Finally here, but if you want to fight the captain, you have to get through us first." As soon as the words fell, Minato threw out hundreds of shurikens, flying in all directions, and then his figure suddenly appeared behind Kado, and a Rasengan smashed down fiercely. "You bastard who overestimates your own abilities." Kado looked at the Minato who suddenly appeared, holding a small ball to attack him. For his current size, the Rasengan in Minato's hand is not even as good as the small ball, so he directly made a mocking remark, and then took a deep breath. Wind blade. In an instant, he spewed out a terrifying wind blade from his mouth, which hit Minato's body fiercely. No matter how strong Minato was, he couldn't use his power in the air, so he couldn't block the wind blade and flew backwards. When he was about to hit the distant mountain, he immediately used the flying thunder god technique and reappeared beside Orochimaru. "I don't have much chakra in this shadow clone, and it seems that I need to consume it now." Orochimaru took a deep breath, and the extremely powerful chakra burst out from his body, and countless giant pythons suddenly appeared in his hands. "Get down, Kado." These giant pythons bit out many bodies fiercely, and then suddenly dragged down. That's right, Orochimaru here is just a shadow clone, because he captured the devil fruit ability users under Kado's command for a search, so he was targeted by Kado. At the same time, he also killed the people of the Whitebird pirates, and was also targeted by Whitebird, so he could only split a shadow clone to lead the four emperors to two different islands to fight separately. Otherwise, if they came together, Minato and Jiraiya alone would not be able to withstand it. After all, Whitebird's tremor fruit has a very large range, so it is no problem for him to attack two people at once. This is not good news for Jiraiya and others. Chapter 267 Minato vs Kado. When Orochimaru's chakra was released, Kushina and Kushina looked at each other, and the two rushed directly towards the pirates near the coast. The two of them were also quite frustrated. It was a soldier against a soldier, and a general against a general. It was definitely not their turn to attack Kado, and they couldn't beat too many of the four emperors. However, the strength of the two of them was not weak. These ordinary pirates could not be their opponents at all. Even if there were a few more powerful ones among them, it was nothing to face the two of them. And Kado looked down at Orochimaru, and then spit out a dragon breath. Its dragon breath could evaporate a person in an instant, and its power was very strong. But Orochimaru didn't care at all, and didn't even make any extra movements. The next moment, Minato suddenly appeared, easily made a flying thunder god, and instantly took Orochimaru to another place. Although the great god here is just a shadow clone, it is necessary to keep it. At a critical moment, it may be the last straw that breaks the camel's back. Even if it doesn't work, with Orochimaru's strength, even if it's just a shadow clone, it can cause great damage to the ordinary pirates under Kado. The terrifying dragon breath fell down, and the scorching temperature madly eroded the surroundings, but it could only touch the residual image left by Minato, and it couldn't cause any damage at all. As expected of the famous four emperors, the power of this dragon breath is really terrifying. If it hits head on, I'm afraid it will be either dead or injured. Although Minato led Orochimaru to dodge the dragon breath, he was still a little scared after watching the situation there from a distance. He is a speed type. facing a person like Kaido who is both tough and has strong recovery ability. Although the opponent can't hit him, he has no good way to get rid of him. But in this process, if he makes a slight mistake and is touched by Kaido, he will at least suffer some injuries. Seeing Minato dodge his dragon breath, Kaido's face changed. He didn't expect that this seemingly inconspicuous person would be so difficult. Where did the 10,000 Worlds pirates find so many strong people? Anyway, even if Kaido was beaten to death, he couldn't figure it out. These people were summoned by Chen Tian from another world. However, these were just thoughts in his mind. He shouted at Minato on the spot, "Try it again, if you have the guts. See how many times you can dodge my attacks, Dragon Breath." With Kaido's cold shout, the terrifying Dragon Breath suddenly condensed again, and an extremely hot wave spread rapidly, then tore the sky at an astonishing speed, and fell fiercely towards Minato below. Kaido's Dragon Breath this time was stronger than before, with a larger range, and extremely fast, making it extremely difficult to dodge. With such violent power, the wave was enough to kill some of the more famous pirates in the New World. This time, Kaido really showed his strength as an emperor. Seeing the horror on the faces of others, this strength is worthy of being the famous 4 emperors in the sea. But only Kushina and Yuhikyo didn't even look at it, because they both believed in Minato's strength. Flying Thunder God is a space ninjutsu. Kaido thought that increasing the attack range would be enough to deal with Minato. How naive. The dragon's breath tore through the sky, and in an instant, it was less than 20 meters away from Minato. However, facing Kaido's fierce attack, Minato's expression did not change at all, and there was no sign of retreat. He took a step forward, and under the gaze of many people, he waved the shuriken in his hand. The next moment, the shuriken flew out of his hand and disappeared in an instant. When it appeared again, it had already landed in front of Kaido, passing directly through the terrifying dragon's breath. Super large Jade Rasengan. This blue ball, which was nearly 2 meters long, exuded terrifying chakra fluctuations. At the moment of the attack, the air in front was cleaned up, and a violent explosion rushed out instantly. Boom. Minato's super large Jade Rasengan landed firmly on Kaido's body, rolling up an amazing wind and waves, and then scattered wildly. The whole island trembled at this moment. An indescribable force erupted from Minato, and the huge Rasengan, that was enough to kill a pirate, exploded on Kaido's back. Boom. After the deafening explosion disappeared, Kaido's huge body was already embedded in the island. This was the first real confrontation between Minato and Kaido. It seemed that Minato was not at a disadvantage at all. He just relied on his chakra and ninjutsu to blow Kaido's terrifying body away with one blow. However, Kaido is worthy of being one of the 4 emperors, and he is also the strongest creature in the sea, land and air. Under this blow, he did not suffer any damage, and the next second he spread his wings and flew up. Boy, you are quite strong. With such strength, this sea will remember your name. Kaido's eyes in the sky also became much colder, and his bone-chilling voice was mixed with a strong murderous intent. You don't need to confirm this. Minato raised the corners of his mouth, and the voice came out of his mouth. His body is not strong, but it contains extraordinary terrifying power, which is enough to collapse mountains and split the earth. It is precisely because of this power that he can defeat Kaido. Of course, although Minato showed his impressive strength, none of the pirates under Kaido thought that Minato could defeat his own governor, because they all knew that their governor had not really shown all his strength. How could he be defeated so easily if he could become a strong man of the 4 emperors? Although the news of Chen Tian defeating Kaido spread on the sea before, in fact, that battle could only be regarded as inconclusive, because Kaido took the initiative to retreat, and did not fight Chen Tian head on with all his strength. Haha, you are so arrogant, but I will remember you. Kaido's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and his dragon head was raised violently. Countless thunders gathered in his mouth, and a powerful and incomparable domineering aura was also released crazily at this moment. Under the effect of this conqueror's haki, many ordinary pirates of the Bankai pirates fell directly to the ground. All of a sudden, the number of people who were originally almost the same as the enemy decreased a lot. A very strong momentum. This is the qualification of a king. Conqueror's haki? Minato locked his eyes on Kado. His eyes condensed slightly. This kind of conqueror's haki. Jiraiya and Chen Tian also have this kind of conqueror's haki, and he can feel that he also has this kind of haki, but it has not been awakened yet. Because in his heart, Minato felt that this kind of power was not heavy for him at all. What's the point of shocking others? If it is an enemy, wouldn't it be better to defeat him directly? Boy, now, go to hell, looming. The strong breath swept across the sky. Kado's eyes were cold, and the next moment he released countless thunders, which fell towards Minato from the air. At this time, Minato just clenched the shuriken in his hand, and then slowly raised it. Chapter 268 Minato's Hidden Strength. Thunder is the ability that Kado can use in his dragon form. Using Dragon Roar to release lightning is exactly the same as Dragon Breath and Wind Blade, but the power used is different. Dragon Breath is fire, Wind Blade is gust of wind, and Thunder is thunder. In a sense, the power of Thunder is even stronger. After all, Thunder is the most fierce and overbearing force between heaven and earth. As the saying goes, the power of Thunder is the power of heaven. Boom boom. With the sound of roar, thunder suddenly fell, and there were explosions all over the sky and the ground. There were many places on the ground below that were blown into deep pits by the escaped thunder. If such a powerful destructive force fell on a person, it would be hard to imagine what the consequences would be. Humph. Minato looked at the thunder that was coming straight at him and snorted coldly. He used the flying thunder god technique without hesitation, and his body instantly disappeared from the spot. After arriving at a place where the thunder was weak, a low and cold shout burst out from Minato's throat, and powerful chakra burst out all over the sky, and then an amazing sword energy suddenly appeared at this moment. After coming to this world, everyone is getting stronger, and Minato, the peerless genius, is no exception. After knowing that the vitality of people in this world is very tenacious, Minato decided to practice the most powerful swordsmanship. After all, from his fighting style, this is the most suitable choice. After several years of training in this world, his swordsmanship will definitely not be weaker than other great swordsmen. With his current swordsmanship attainments, even without a little chakra, it is enough to cut off the ship in the sea and become a great pirate famous in the new world. What's more, as a ninja, he himself has extremely powerful chakra. This scene made many pirates tremble with fear. If Minato's sword was directed at them, I'm afraid that many people would be killed by this sword energy. Of course, it wasn't just the pirates of the Beast's pirates who saw this scene whose faces changed. Even most of the ordinary pirates of the Bankei pirates couldn't help but be shocked. Great swordsman, I didn't expect that Lord Minato is not only powerful, but also so skilled in swordsmanship. No wonder he didn't show any fear when facing an emperor like Kado. He is indeed a core level figure. Boom. The sword energy and thunder met, and a huge explosion shook the earth. Then the thunder scattered and penetrated downward like rain, smashing the ground of the island into pieces. Many of them splashed near Minato, but they were all blocked by his ninjutsu, but this also made Minato frown slightly, because the thunder that splashed on him actually broke his earth flow wall. You should know that the defense of the earth flow wall is also very strong. Hahaha, Minato, right? I think highly of you. Would you like to consider joining my Beast's pirates? As long as you are willing to join, I can give you a position as a signboard. Kado laughed in the sky and said at the same time, Signboard? With this name, I can't join your crappy pirate group, and do you think I'm not your opponent? Chen Tian must be here, otherwise he would be very depressed. How can you, Minato, who is a bad name, laugh at Kado? After saying that, a cold light flashed in Minato's eyes, and then chakra suddenly covered his feet, and the whole person rushed into the sky at an astonishing speed. At the same time, the strength and chakra also erupted again at this moment. When rushing over, he immediately slashed out 5 sword energies, all of which were forced towards Kado's huge body. Seeing that Minato was going to rush towards him like before, Kado also mercilessly sprayed out wind blades directly, and the wind swept through him to blow Minato away. But Minato is not an ordinary person. With the flying thunder god technique, he can change his position at will in the air. After throwing his hands directly out, Minato's figure disappeared instantly, avoiding all the attacks of the wind blade. At this moment, Minato waved his hands at Kado, and at the same time whispered, Konoha style swordsmanship, 3 moon dance. three figures suddenly appeared and at the same time displayed sword energy, enveloping Kado's huge body. At this moment, Minato once again flew to the ground with the Thunder God, waving the weapon in his hand, and continuously slashed at these Kado. Sword energy slashed into the air, and each sword energy had the powerful force that just resisted Kado's dragon breath. Bang 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 bang. The sword energy mixed with chakra slashed on Kado's dragon body, and the low sound spread like thunder, and the amazing wind blew in all directions, which made people tremble with fear. What followed was that the left hand quickly formed a seal, and immediately summoned earth dragons, which smashed towards Kado crazily. But it must be said that Kado's body was so powerful that it was terrifying. Although his defense may not be comparable to Big Mom who was defeated by Chen Tian before, his recovery and vitality are extremely amazing. The impact of these attacks on him can be ignored now, but such attacks make Kado very irritated. In his eyes, Minato, who is like an ant, actually launched such a terrifying attack. After about a minute, Kado directly shrank his body, fell from the sky, and then suddenly stood on the ground, and took out a huge mace from somewhere, and held it in his hand. His eyes were fixed on Minato, not caring about the other people who were blocking him. He said in a cold voice, "It's an interesting method, but your power is too weak. You are just tickling me. And there is no need to look at me like that. You want to kill me, right? If you can do that, maybe I will give you a little help, but no one in this world can kill me, not even the old man Whitebird. He was captured by the Navy and executed many times. He committed suicide for fun when he was bored. The reason for this is that Kado knew very well that no one in the world could kill him. Minato's strength was a little beyond his expectations, but that was all. It was too whimsical to really want to defeat him, or even kill him. And since he chose not to use the dragon form anymore, he felt that there was no need to continue this battle. He wanted to destroy this abandoned island with absolute strength, and then tell the guy named Minato on the opposite side what real strength was. What kind of strength does it take to be called the Four Emperors? Chapter 269 Rough Battle. The airwaves swept in all directions. At this moment, the two forces were colliding with each other, and the might they burst out had reached a very terrifying level. Under the battle between Minato and Kado, the powerful force was so strong that even some big pirates could hardly get close. Boom. After a loud noise, the two figures quickly separated, and Minato retreated dozens of steps before he stabilized his body. In such a fierce confrontation, neither of them fell into a clear disadvantage. This scene made many people in the Beast Pirates secretly shocked. They were shocked that their own governor had already made a full effort, but Minato could actually compete with him. You must know that Minato is not one of the four emperors, but a core member of the 10,000 Worlds Pirates. Is it possible that his strength is not much worse than that of his own governor? Kado's face also became solemn at this time. He had to admit that this guy called Minato was extremely powerful. Even if he went head on with him, he could not lose the wind. But Minato was a little uncomfortable. In his opinion, Kado was an indestructible cockroach. He used many slashes in succession, all of which hit him, but there was no obvious scar. Moreover, the opponent's physical strength was also extremely strong. After such a crazy battle, even he felt a little tired, but Kado was like a normal person. If I had known that I would face such a tough guy, I should have exchanged with Jiraiya. In my current state, there is no way to kill him. Minato thought to himself that if he changed places and faced someone other than Kado, the power he would burst out would definitely be much better than now. But facing the dead meat guy Kado of the Beasts, he could not achieve any results at all. I don't have time to waste time with you here. Go to hell, kid. With the murderous intent in his heart, Kado suddenly rushed forward quickly, and many thunders flashed on the mace in his hand. The armed color domineering swept from Kado's body and quickly condensed on the mace in his hand. Then a sharp breath quickly expanded, constantly impacting the people around. With Kado's action, many people who know him know that he is going to use his killer move. Just like the killer move of Big Mom's former mighty country. Stinky boy, you're dead. Thunderous Bagua. Kado's violent voice exploded like thunder, and the mace in his hand also gave people an extreme threat. As he swung his arm quickly, with flashing thunder and top-level armed color domineering, The rapid swing of the stick set off hurricanes, and even that hurricane was enough to blow away many big pirates, and they were big pirates from the New World. This guy, should I say he deserves to be the fourth red? Minato looked at the attack coming towards him, his eyes were slightly dignified. Not only did Kaido swing the weapon with all his strength, but he also drove the extraordinary armed color domineering. Even those who are said to be second only to the four emperors, such as the former Desert Star, or the current three big names, and the captains under Whitebird, can hardly resist the full strength attack launched by the real emperor. He had no choice but to treat it with caution. Even if his strength was not weaker than those guys, or even stronger, he was facing an emperor at this moment, the real four emperors. Kaido of the beasts. Bang! The terrible impact force erupted at this moment, and the entire ground began to collapse under this fierce force, and cracks spread rapidly. The Thunder Bagua had not completely fallen, and the detonation generated by just swinging it was such a powerful force. This time Kaido did not hold back at all. He pushed his strength and armed color domineering to the extreme. Even the existence of the four emperors had to face his full strength Thunder Bagua. Looking at this destructive power, many pirates who were fighting also took a breath of cold air. The Sea Emperor was indeed extremely powerful. It was unknown whether Minato could withstand such a fierce attack. Under such circumstances, Minato had no intention of fighting head-on. Instead, he formed seals with his hands, mobilized all the chakra in his body, and instantly performed the Flying Thunder God technique. The next moment, Minato appeared on the other side of the abandoned island, very far away from Kaido. After he dodged, Kaido's mace naturally fell on the ground. Boom. The world seemed to tremble at this moment, and many people who were fighting stopped at the same time. Then, they saw a storm full of destructive power, howling from the place where the mace fell. In this storm, the surrounding trees were uprooted, and the earth seemed to be overturned. Kaido also felt the reaction force from the mace at this moment. This unique force clearly told him that the mace did not touch the enemy, but even he himself did not see when Minato left. This guy who looks like an ant is really fast. Even he had to admit that if this guy named Minato was not a core member of the Bankei Pirates, he would definitely be a great pirate in the New World. But compared to him, the others were even more horrified. When the smoke cleared, everyone saw that a lake had appeared on the island, where Kaido's mace fell. Obviously, Kaido's mace directly penetrated the entire island, completely shattering the center of the island, and connecting it to the surrounding sea. Wow. This power is really great, and it's too difficult to deal with thick skin and flesh. Minato looked at Kaido and the huge mace in his hand from a distance, and he was also a little troubled. But it was too early for him to give up like this. Just when he was about to continue to attack, a figure like a boneless figure suddenly jumped over from a distance, and a low voice came out of his mouth. Minato, this battle is not suitable for you. Before this shadow clone's chakra runs out, I'll help you. Orochimaru, who had already changed the battlefield, appeared again at this time. After killing many pirates of the beast's pirates, he was unscathed, with only a little smell of mud. But this is also normal. If it was hurt, this shadow clone would naturally dissipate. You can still save your life by hiding well. Don't you see that none of your core cards are my opponents? Perhaps because Orochimaru caught his younger brother for experiments, Kaido felt very unhappy when he saw him. He quickly raised the mace and smashed it directly at Orochimaru. The powerful force burst out again. Although this attack did not use the Thunder Bagua, Kaido's own physical strength is also extremely strong. Bang! A muffled sound came out, and Kaido's brows were slightly startled. The Orochimaru in front of him was not blown away as he imagined. Instead, he didn't know when he made a huge snake and blocked him. Although the snake was smashed away, Orochimaru was unscathed. Minato's eyes twitched as he watched from the side, and he could not help but mourn for the snakes in his heart. Your fighting style is really crude, so let me teach you a lesson. Orochimaru said this sincerely. He has been in this world for so many years, but all the battles he encountered were simple and unpretentious, without any fancy things. It was very different from the ninjas he had experienced before, who would do anything to achieve their goals. Chapter 270, Impure World Reincarnation. Since you want to play so much, I'll show you something fun. Orochimaru smiled strangely, then used a body flickering technique to move away from Kado, letting Minato take over, while he frantically made hand seals in the back. Immortal reincarnation. A pitch black coffin slowly rose from the ground under Orochimaru's feet, with the large word LUO written on it. Over the years, most people who came to this world chose to improve their strength, but he concentrated on doing research. But this does not mean that he has no fighting ability. On the contrary, his fighting ability can even be said to be one of the strongest. If he really fights for his life, he is not afraid of anyone, except Chen Tian and K. All of this comes from the ninjutsu he is using now, the impure world reincarnation. It can reincarnate the dead strong. 2 or 3 years ago, he went to Roger Town on purpose. Although he did not find the body of the Pirate King Roger, he found a trace of the Pirate King Roger's blood on the execution platform. Although it has become a red mark, he has collected it and is now using it to resurrect Pirate King Roger. As the coffin was opened little by little, a man with nose hair, as long as a beard stood up. Although his body was pieced together little by little like a piece of paper, many people present widened their eyes in astonishment. Pirate King Roger. How is it possible? Haven't you been dead for more than 20 years? Kado widened his eyes and looked ahead in horror, not daring to believe what he saw. But Pirate King Roger didn't pay any attention to them at all, but was like a puppet, motionless. Go, kill him. Orochimaru ordered Roger directly, and then Roger rushed out in an instant and fought with Kado. The two sides fought back and forth, but anyone with a discerning eye could see that Roger was slightly at a disadvantage. Kado hit Roger several times with his attacks, but then Roger immediately recovered and continued to fight. This scene made him very puzzled. When did Pirate King Roger become so weak that he was actually suppressed by himself? Although Kado thinks highly of himself, he has witnessed the horror of Pirate King Roger with his own eyes, so he immediately noticed something wrong. But he didn't know that, because Roger's strength was too strong, Orochimaru couldn't completely control him, so he didn't awaken Roger's consciousness, nor did he give Roger the power of his heyday. But in Orochimaru's view, this was enough. Because the impure world reincarnation is immortal, it can only be sealed but not killed. But there is basically no such thing as a sealing technique in this world. Originally, Orochimaru wanted to reincarnate more people, but perhaps because of the rules of the world, the effect of impure world reincarnation is not as good as before. It took him several years of research to successfully reincarnate just one Pirate King Roger. If he wants to produce more strong people, he can't do it now. For this research, it was Chen Tian who told him about the soul fruit and the yellow spring fruit, so he was able to research it. In the horrified expressions of everyone, Kado's mace hit Roger directly, and there was no mercy at all. Bang! The same powerful force burst out from Roger's body, and for a moment Kado's weapon could not move. Then, Roger, who was unconscious, took a step forward, clenched one arm into a fist, and hit Kado's face without moving. However, although his attack was powerful, the speed was not fast, and Kado had enough time to react. When the fist was about to fall on his face, Kado's hand that was not holding the weapon swung quickly and directly collided with the opponent's attack. The fight between the two created an amazing wave of air, which then swept in all directions, and the ground under their feet cracked again. The seemingly ordinary fists collided and erupted with terrifying power. But one thing Kado did not react to was that, although Roger was unconscious, his fighting instinct was extremely terrifying. When Kado blocked his fist, he leaned forward directly, released the mace in his hand, and then bent his arm, and his elbow attacked Kado like lightning. Bang! This blow hit Kado's face hard, and the dull sound made many people tremble. Kado's huge body retreated several steps at this time. He shook his head, and felt a little dizzy. But his body was also extremely strong. Not to mention, being hit by Roger, who was reincarnated from the impure world reincarnation. Even if he was hit a few more times, there would be no problem. The confrontation between the two again and again set off a huge storm, but these two guys were like iron, punching each other, but no one showed any signs of fatigue or injury. If they continued to fight like this, it would probably take 3 days and 3 nights to get a result. It is even possible that after 3 days and 3 nights, both of them would be the same as they are now. Kado's real strength lies in his vitality and recovery ability, and Roger, who was reincarnated from the impure world reincarnation, is even stronger in this regard. This is like When you are playing a game, a meat shield and an immortal fighting in the river, without the help of others, see who can beat the other to death. But at this moment, Minato, who was about to rejoin the battle, suddenly felt some changes in his body. His face became extremely serious, but a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Not long ago, Chen Tian, the leader of the Wanji pirates, was in his residence. Chen Tian's face had not been very good during this period. After all, being targeted by 3 forces at the same time would not make anyone look good. Although the 3 forces did not join forces, their actions were no different from joining forces. What is the current situation of the battle? Chen Tian asked. The Whitebird pirates have not contacted us yet. They are very close to our Bankai continent and will officially fight us within half a day. However, Whitebird's main ship, the Moby Dick, has not been found yet. It is only speculated that the target of the Moby Dick should be the island where Orochimaru is. After all, Orochimaru, who killed his crew members, is there. Robin told the current situation bit by bit. There is no movement on the Navy side either, but the Navy warships are not far from us. We have already spotted an Admiral, a Kainu, Aokiji, and the hero Garp. As for the others, we have not found them yet, but according to speculation, the Navy will not send out only such a small number of people. Follow-up news is still being investigated. The only ones who have officially started a war with us are the Beast's pirates. What is the specific situation on the Beast's pirates side? Chen Tian nodded and asked. The Beast's pirates are divided into 3 parts, led by Drought, Plague, and Plague, but they can't pose a real threat to us with their strength. The real threat is the island guarded by Minato. Not long ago, news came that Minato has fought with Kato. Robin knew all the news very well. As long as Chen Tian wanted to know, he could tell it immediately. In the current situation, it is indeed as he said. The most dangerous side is Minato. It is true that Minato and Orochimaru's shadow clones are very strong, but Kato is one of the 4 emperors after all, and he is not that easy to deal with. Orochimaru did summon the Pirate King Roger, but because he didn't study it thoroughly enough, his ability to control Roger was not enough, so Roger's strength was not very strong. Since Minato is here, there is no need to worry. At least Minato will not fail. Chen Tian sat up and said in a deep voice. He has enough confidence in Minato. Although the possibility of Minato defeating Orochimaru is almost 0, the possibility of him being defeated by Kaido is still 0. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 271. The Navy arrives. In the Wanji continent, Chen Tian's residence. Brother Chen Tian, the captain of the 3rd Division of the Whitebird Pirates, Diamond Josie, and the captain of the 5th Division, Vista, have led their fleets to attack. Should we support them? Robin asked as she looked at the news that kept coming back. Hearing this, Chen frowned slightly and said in a deep voice, with our current combat power, we should be able to deal with them. He didn't believe that the Navy would sit back and watch the outcome. Whitebird and Kaido alone would not be enough to destroy his Wanji pirates. He knew this very well, and the old shady Sengoku should also know this very well. But until now, the Navy has not started to act, which makes Chen Tian feel very puzzled. However, almost all the members of the Wanji Heart have been dispatched, and now it's his turn. It's almost time for us to set off. Chen Tian took the long sword beside him and stood up immediately. He, the captain of the Wanji pirates, couldn't just sit here and be a mascot. Robin also stood up at this time and put his coat on Chen Tian without saying a word. We have to go and kill those Navy, but this time it's so troublesome. Chen Tian felt that Garp was extremely troublesome when he thought of that bastard. After all, he could still counterattack his attacks after being seriously injured, and his fighting power is also a bit powerful to a terrifying degree. At that time, he can only try to avoid him. If we all leave the Wanji Dao, will we be attacked by someone? Luo couldn't help but ask. The others had already gone out. If they left again, someone might directly attack the Wanji Dao. It doesn't matter. After all of us leave, there is only a piece of land left. If they want to attack, let them attack. Then we will take it back. After saying this, he hung the intestines on his waist and walked out. As long as our Wanji is still there, his people are still alive, and the territory is still there, no matter how much they can take, we can double it back. That's right, as long as they are all alive, and the pirate group is still the 4 emperors, even if there is no territory at all. But they can take it back anytime they want. If they miss this opportunity, neither the Whitebird pirates nor the Kazhou pirates, nor the navy, will be able to confront them head on alone. Just as the Coast Guard Navy was about to approach the 10,000 Worlds continent, a young man in a robe stood at the dock. It's really a narrow road for enemies. Garp can appear in front of me again, but this time you brought some friends to let me see. Chen Tian stood at the dock, looking at the Navy army approaching the 10,000 Worlds continent, and said with a smile, Marshal Buddha Sengoku, the old generation of strong men of the Great Staff Chiru are all gathered here. It seems that you are planning to destroy me, the Wanji pirates. Seeing Chen Tian's appearance, Marshal Sengoku's face instantly became ugly. He didn't expect that the captain of the 10,000 Worlds pirates, who was facing the Whitebird pirates and Kado pirates at the same time, would appear on this side to deal with their navy. Isn't he afraid that, if he is not in the 10,000 Worlds, the pirates will be broken by Whitebird or Kado? Since you know this, surrender quickly. Nappu shouted directly after hearing Chen Tian's words. Today is different from the time in Golden City. You can't stand us alone, and your subordinates can't do it now. Even if you appear here, the outcome of your being defeated is already a foregone conclusion. Don't say everything so absolutely, Vice Admiral Carp. As soon as the voice fell, a powerful force burst out from Chen Tian's body. I warn you in advance, don't get close to me, otherwise something bad will happen. Chen Tian stood in Lidi with his hands set in both hands, with a smile on his lips. He had no intention of getting close to the navy, but his wildness showed that he would never retreat, let alone surrender. Seeing that Chen Tian's behavior at this moment was not pleasing, Shunji looked back once a year, stopped the shortcut of the navy fleet, and then said in a deep voice, everyone be careful, Brother Zin is very powerful. If you get too close to him, all the navy soldiers will be buried in the sea with one skill. He was also worried that the speed of the remote transfer was too fast. If all the navy soldiers got close, they might kill their own people. Chapter 272 Weird Speed. Although he agreed to Garp's request, Sengoku also had his own concerns. We can't continue to drag it on like this. Marshal Sengoku suddenly said at this time, if we continue to drag it on like this, maybe the Bankei pirates will have more reinforcement coming. Although this possibility is very small, if they repel Kado or Whitebird, then our plan will be ruined. All those below the rank of general will stay on standby, and those above the rank of general will log in. This time, the attack on the Bankei pirates can be said to be a laborious task for their navy. In addition to them, there are 2 CP0 agents on the ship. If they continue to stalemate with Chen Tian, not only will there be more variables, but it will also cause dissatisfaction from the world government. This is not what Marshal Sengoku wants to see, so he must launch an attack at this time. Since the opponent's ability is strong, then let those with enough strength take action. The navy above the rank of general should have a certain resistance. It's a pity that Marshal Sengoku underestimated Chen Tian this time. His strength is very strong, but in the final analysis, Chen Tian's most outstanding feature is speed. How could these officers above the general level resist such a speed that even Garp was shocked? Seeing the navy rushing towards him after landing, a cold light flashed in Chen Tian's eyes. Chen Tian! Garp roared angrily and rushed towards Chen Tian with a shave. He used his armament haki to the extreme and swung his fist to smash forward. But just as he rushed out, Nami, Robin and others flashed in front of him and directly blocked the iron fist with their palms like jade lotus roots. After all, the two of them have been following Chen Tian for many years, and they are also one of the top sons of automobile transportation in this world. With the resources of Chen Tian and the entire Wanji pirates, their strength is not weak. Of course, although they are not weak, even if they join hands, they can only barely compete with the Admiral for a period of time. Although it is impossible to defeat Garp, at least they can delay for a while. We can't let you disturb Brother Chen Tian this time, otherwise it will be our dereliction of duty. Robin looked at Garp and said with a faint smile, "This time, we will definitely arrest you." Demon God Chen Tian. Vice Admiral Weasel also rushed towards Chen Tian with a long sword in his hand. Although Garp was stopped, the Navy basically went all out this time. The combat power is strong and the number is large. With only the few people around Chen Tian, there is no way to stop them all. Suddenly, an extremely powerful force spread out, and Chen Tian's entire figure began to become illusory. This is not a special ability, but because Chen Tian's speed is too fast, it leaves a trail of after images around, which makes people feel very illusory. Is this the weird speed that Garp said? Everyone listen, don't approach without permission. Vice Admiral Crane immediately stopped the remaining part of the Navy generals who were about to rush forward. Because the picture she saw at this moment was not Weasel and Huashe Ocean rushing up to attack Chen Tian. Instead, they all rushed towards the after image left by Chen Tian, and then attacked and injured their teammates by mistake. The scene was once very bloody. Damn, is there no way to resist at such a speed? Vice Admiral he was also having a headache at this time. They actually didn't know Chen Tian's speed, why he was so fast, but they couldn't keep up after all. We just need to increase the distance and then attack. Although he is fast, as long as the distance is far enough, it will also consume a lot of time. Let everyone increase the distance and then attack him. Marshals and Guo made a decision after a little thought, but his brows were still tightly knitted together at this time. It is true that Chen Tian is only fast, not space ninjutsu, so after increasing the distance enough, even if Chen Tian wants to rush over at his speed, these naval officers will have enough time to react. But there is also a very serious problem, that is, how to threaten Chen Tian at such a long distance. You know, he is a 4 emperors. It is not as simple as saying to get rid of an emperor in the sea from a long distance. Marshals and Guo, did the Navy ask us to come here just to watch such a farce? At this time, 2 men in neat suits and strange masks walked up to Marshals and Guo and spoke in a very dissatisfied tone. They were senior agents of CP0 and did not belong to the same system as the Navy. Moreover, even in terms of identity and status, they were second only to the Navy Marshals and Guo. Don't underestimate the other party. Although that guy is young, he is a genuine 4 emperors. If you have any ideas, you might as well try his strength, but I don't recommend doing so, because his speed is too fast. In a small area, you may not be able to get out once you enter. The relationship between the Navy and CP has always been bad, so even if these 2 guys came to help his side, Zhang Guo did not give them much good face. Of course, Marshals and Guo still has a big heart, mainly because these 2 guys are full of ridicule for the Navy. As soon as they open their mouths, how can he have a good face? Don't think of us as the same as your Navy. I admit that you and Garp are very strong, but the others, As they said that, the 2 CP agents looked at each other, then performed a moon step, and rushed directly towards Chen Tian. Chen Tian really had never seen such a person who was extremely eager to die. Although the strength of these 2 CP agents was good, they were at most at the level of Vice Admiral of the Navy headquarters. Such a guy dared to confront him head on, that was really courting death. And this was exactly the case. As soon as they approached Chen Tian, the 2 agents began to be dazzled and could not see the specific location of Chen Tian at all. However, scars appeared on their bodies very abruptly, and they could not defend themselves at all. And Chen Tian had not used up all his strength yet, he was just playing with the other party. Otherwise these people would have been killed long ago, so he still had time to talk to Zhang Guo. I say, Marshals and Guo, are you going to stand at such a distance and watch your lovely subordinates being killed one by one? Chen Tian's words were like a thorn, piercing into Marshals and Guo's heart. As the Admiral of the Navy, he naturally couldn't bear to see his generals being killed, but he couldn't think of any good way to deal with Chen Tian's damn speed. Just like when the Navy faced Kado, the Beast, they were powerless against the opponent's physical strength. When facing Whitebird, they were terrified by the opponent's powerful destructive power. Each of the 4 emperors has a prominent feature that no one else can match, and Chen Tian's is speed. But then again, their navy has dispatched so many people. If they were stopped here by Chen Tian and a few people, not to mention the world government would not agree, even they themselves would not agree. What's the point of dragging it on, Sengoku? If I were you, I would evacuate with all the navy at this time. At least in this way, although you haven't caused any harm to me, you won't suffer any losses. But if you continue to drag it on, when my people are free, you won't be able to leave easily. Chen Tian said with a smile at this time. His words were full of threats. The reason why he said this was mainly because he estimated that he couldn't hold on for too long. Chapter 273 Orochimaru support. Don't think that he is playing the opponent around now. That's because Sengoku Garp and the three admirals haven't officially met him. If these people join forces, Chen Tian dares to say that none of the four emperors in the entire new world can hold on. Although he is strong enough, he is not strong enough to ignore others, and the human wave tactics are still useful to him. If it takes too long, it is very likely that he will not be able to wait for others to free out their hands, and he will have to use up all his physical strength first. Even if there are Robin and Nami and others around, they can only delay time a little. In this top level battle, the 2-digit number of people with the strength of quasi-admirals can't play a decisive role at all. It's not an easy task to defeat Whitebeard and Kaido, and you are not here yet. I have plenty of time to waste here with you, and the navy will definitely win this time. Marshal Sengoku's analysis of the situation is not a problem. Even if the people under Chen Tian are very strong, they are facing two emperor pirate groups after all. It is impossible to defeat the two emperor pirate groups in a short time, so he has time to continue to fight Chen Tian. Of course, Sanji Yuo's idea is not like this. He is now in a dilemma. No matter what, he can only bite the bullet and continue to fight the Wanji pirates. If they retreat now, the navy will not only lose a lot of money and time, but also their reputation will plummet. People will think they are afraid of the four emperors. In addition, even CP's agents have been borrowed. If you retreat without fighting, what do you think the world government will think? But if you really conquer the Wanji continent and destroy the Wanji pirates, the consequences will not be much better. The moment he saw Chen Tian's speed, Sanji Yuo knew that only Kizaru could compare with him in the navy. This proves one thing. When Chen Tian wanted to evacuate, they couldn't kill Chen Tian. Even if Kizaru could catch up with Chen Tian, he couldn't beat him. Wouldn't it be a gift to catch up? Or the kind that can't run away? By then, the Wanji pirates will be destroyed, but the most powerful Chen Tian will live for a while. What's the use? As long as Chen Tian waved his hand, many people would be willing to follow him in a few minutes, and he would become one of the four emperors again in a short time. This is still a relatively good result. What if Chen Tian gets angry and does nothing every day, just staring at their navy and killing them? What should they do? Thinking of this, Sanji Yuo felt a faint pain in his crotch, which was really a headache. But Chen Tian didn't know what Sanji Yuo was thinking. He only knew that the other party wanted to waste time with him. Then continue to waste time like this. I want to see how long these navy under your command can hold out. Oh, by the way, there are 2 CP0 senior agents. I can also change my attitude a little. Originally, he wanted to use the lives of these people to force the navy to retreat, but now that the negotiations have failed, there is no need to continue to show mercy. The power in Chen Tian's hands suddenly increased, and the navy that was constantly attacked by him, as well as the 2 CP people's senior agents, suddenly suffered more serious wounds on their bodies. The 2 high-level agents are both animal-type fruit ability users, and their powerful physical skills and half-beast state can greatly enhance their vitality. But at the same time, the torture they suffered was even stronger. Although the terrifying attacks did not kill them, they constantly stimulated their nerves. Sengoku, don't hesitate anymore. Although this kid is very fast, we can still react. As long as we defeat him, all the problems we are facing now will be solved. Garp forced Nami and Robin away with a punch, and of course, he immediately shouted at Sengoku. He really couldn't get away at this time, otherwise he would rush towards Chen Tian in the first place. Although Nami, Robin and others were not very strong, they could not withstand the large number of people on the other side. One by one, they rushed up desperately and stopped him here. Damn it, I can't care so much. Sengoku really couldn't bear it any longer at this time. He turned directly into a huge golden Buddha, and then a moon step shot out towards Chen Tian's position. A faint light gathered in his palm, condensing into a shockwave, ready to attack Chen Tian at any time. It must be said that his decision at this moment was correct. Although Chen Tian was fast, it was difficult to deal with everyone at the same time. After all, these were strong men, not small fish. It was difficult to influence a strong man like Marshal Zenjiuo just by using this method. Come and deal with these naval generals. Get rid of the CP people first, and then attack the navy, Chen Tian said to the people behind him. Then, he set his sights on Marshal Zenjiuo. At this moment, his eyes flashed with cold light, and the long sword slowly moved with his hand. Since we have to fight, let's have a good fight, Zenjiuo. As soon as the voice fell, he no longer hesitated, flashed out like a thunderbolt, swung the long sword at Marshal Zenjiuo, and cut out a terrifying sword energy. Even in a head-on battle, he was equally fearless! Exclamation mark. Boom. After Robin barely blocked Garp's fist with the flower fruit, she took a deep breath and burst out with powerful armament haki. A super big arm made of arms covered with jet black armament haki smashed down fiercely at Garp. But at this moment, a large ship was approaching here quickly. Lord Orochimaru, the navy is ahead. Now we can see a lot of navy warships. It is estimated that they have already started fighting with the captain and others. After a subordinate pirate carefully observed the front, he said to Orochimaru, who was sitting on the bed. On Kado's side, Minato directly blocked Kado, and the other shrimp soldiers and crab generals also had enough combat power to deal with it. So Orochimaru's shadow clone consumed all the chakra and then delivered the message to the main body. In order to chase him, Whitebird also went to the position where Jiraiya was, but was blocked by Jiraiya. So, Orochimaru withdrew in time and came to support Chenshin. He has presided over many wars and has a very good overall view. Whether this battle is won or not has nothing to do with them. Everything depends on Chen Tian's performance. Even with his help, Minato and Jiraiya cannot defeat Kado and Whitebird. In this case, why not come to support Chen Tian? As long as he can resist a high level combat force for Chen Tian can defeat the navy. After that, Chen Tian will personally go to the location where Kado and Whitebird are to support them. The two can only give up and withdraw, and their Bankei pirates can win. Captain, can you give me that golden opponent? Although I'm just a researcher, I occasionally want to fight. Orochimaru jumped onto the dock and said to Chen Tian, who was fighting with Marshal Sengoku. He had already begun to observe from a distance. The strength of this Marshal Sengoku was indeed very strong, so strong that he had no intention of fighting with him. But Orochimaru was very confident that, although he could not beat the opponent, he could at least delay the opponent. In this case, why not use his small chess piece to delay the opponent's largest chess piece? Boom. A slash collided with Sengoku's shockwave, causing a gust of wind. In this gust of wind, Chenshin and Sengoku each retreated a distance, and both of them looked extremely solemn. Chenshin had to take care of others, so he had no way to let go and fight Sengoku. He had to pay attention to Nami, Robin and others at all times. He had personally experienced how perverted Garp was. If he was not careful, Nami and Robin would even be in danger of their lives. So he fought cautiously, and now Orochimaru's appearance was just in time. Chapter 274, Killing 30. You've arrived just in time. In that case, I'll leave Sengoku to you. I can take a good rest. As he said that, Chenshin flashed back to the dock, where he stood at the beginning, and looked like he didn't care about the surrounding situation at all. But the long sword in his hand swung silently, and no one noticed it. On the other side, seeing Orochimaru's seemingly boneless figure, Marshal Sengoku's face became even uglier. Because when he saw Orochimaru, although he felt that the other party was not as strong as Chenshin, he still became alert in his heart. During the fight between the two, Orochimaru relied on his modified body to withstand Sengoku's attacks many times, and did not suffer any damage. Occasionally, Orochimaru could counterattack 1 or 2 times, causing some harmless damage to Sengoku. Obviously, he had been suppressing Orochimaru to fight Sengoku, but he was getting more and more irritable in his heart. What's wrong with this person? His ability to save his life is too strong. After such a long fight, Zenjiuo was sure that he could not kill this pervert, not to mention himself, even if the 3 admirals of the navy were counted. Chen Tian stood there, looking relaxed while watching Zenjiuo and Orochimaru fight. but no one noticed that more than 30 junior admirals had died in his hands. The death of more than 30 junior admirals was a big blow to the Navy. Although the lieutenant admirals of the Navy headquarters were the real combat power, it took a lot of effort to cultivate junior admirals. And more importantly, the two CP0 agents were also seriously injured at this time. It would not be long before they would die here. Of course, these achievements were not without a price. These more than 30 junior admirals were not cannon fodder. Each of them had to be killed in one sword, which required Chen Tian to use all his strength. In order not to attract the attention of Zenjiuo, Garp and the three admirals, and be blocked by them, he had to hide his attack. In this way, he naturally needed to spend more energy. At this time, cold sweat had already seeped out of his forehead. The consumption was a bit too great. Get away, old man. Nami suddenly became ferocious and attacked Garp frantically. Her soft fists attacked Garp like a storm, and her originally beautiful face became much more scary at this moment. Maybe others didn't notice it, but she and Robin had been paying attention to Chen Tian, so how could they not feel it? Chen Tian's physical strength has been consumed a lot. Even if he has been recovering, the recovery speed cannot keep up with the consumption of full strength attack. So Chen Tian's current condition is not very good. She wants to quickly repel Garp and go to Chen Tian's side. But as a Navy hero, how can Garp be defeated so easily? Even if they join forces, it can even be said that, even if so many of them join forces, they don't have the strength to defeat Garp at all. You're so anxious all of a sudden? Is there something wrong with Chen Tian? Although Garp looks silly, he is not stupid, especially when fighting. He has a very keen sense of smell. Indeed, he used such a powerful and hidden move, and used it so many times. It would be strange if there was no consumption. And your anxiety also means that he can't hold on for much longer, right? Ha ha ha. Thinking of this, Garp's offensive became more fierce. Since he had guessed this, he would not let the girls get away. As long as he could delay until Chen Tian's strength was exhausted, then it would be time for their navy to launch a general attack. Judging from the current situation, the opponent only has Orochimaru, who has just arrived and still maintains a very strong combat power. The others have been suppressed by the three admirals. If they continue, it will be a matter of time before they are defeated. These core members of the Wanji pirates are indeed powerful, but there is still a big gap compared to the general. At least that's what Garp thinks now. I just don't know what kind of mood he would be in if he saw Jiraiya and Minato, or Roger, who was resurrected by the impure world reincarnation. The only pity is that Orochimaru's current research is not enough, otherwise all the strong ones will be resurrected and scare you to death. Old thing, you deserve to die. Feeling that Chen Tian's breath was getting weaker and weaker, Nami and Robin's eyes showed murderous intent towards Garp. It can only be said that fortunately Nami and Robin are not strong enough now. If they are strong enough, they will directly raise the entire world government to the ground. Chen Tian also notes that continuing like this is not a solution, but the combat power here is seriously insufficient. If he doesn't deal with these people, the situation will be even worse. He himself will be held back by the Navy Marshal Sengoku. When the three admirals kill all the others, he will be attacked by Garp, Sengoku and the three admirals of the Navy. At that time, the situation here will completely collapse, and there will be no chance of a comeback. It's really troublesome. If I run out of energy, and there's no support, I can only give up here. Chen Tian had already made up his mind to give up this island at this time. Moreover, this was originally an abandoned island, so there would be no loss, even if he gave it up. The most important thing at present is to retain enough combat power so that he can counterattack the navy at any time, unless his Wanji pirates are destroyed in one fell swoop. The goal of the navy is to gain a foothold in the new world, and it is best to completely eliminate their own Wanji pirates. But as long as all the combat power of the Wanji pirates is gathered, all this will become a delusion of the navy. As I said before, there is a watermelon rind in the Wanji pirates called Might Guy. Don't look at the heroes Garp, Buddha's warring states, and the three generals in the navy. If you really make them angry, Might Guy will just flip the table and kill them all. After shaking his head, Chen Tian slowly stood up, with a little helplessness in his eyes. If possible, he didn't want to give up here. because as long as he continued to retreat, the Navy would land on the Wanji continent. When the battle started, so many strong men might even destroy the Wanji continent. But if it really comes to a critical moment, then there is no need to continue to stalemate here. Sengoku, you haven't been able to get rid of Orochimaru for such a long time. Is it because you, the Admiral of the Navy, have you been sitting in the office for too long that your strength has declined? Chen Tian directly mocked Sengoku. Orochimaru is just a scientific researcher of our Wanji pirates. It's so difficult for you to deal with him. You'd better take your navy back to Marinfando as soon as possible. Otherwise when other people come to support you, you really can't get away. Hearing such a mockery, Marshal Sengoku's eyes changed. It's not that he can't beat Orochimaru, but this guy's ability to save his life is too strong. He can't be killed at all. Sometimes he even doubts himself whether his attack has no effect on the opponent. He even used a shockwave to hit Orochimaru's chest head on just now, but this guy opened his mouth and spit out a new self, and he was unharmed. As long as there is enough time, Sengoku feels that it should not be a problem for him to get rid of Orochimaru. At least he can consume him to death. But now what he needs most is to seize the time. Because he didn't know the specific situation of the battle between the Bankei pirates and Whitebird and Kaido on the other islands. If there really were to be a few more reinforcement, they didn't need to be very strong, just at the level of Orochimaru, then the navy would become passive. Chen Tian and his men already had the advantage of the terrain, and with Chen Tian's strange killing ability, they directly killed most of the middle level combat forces of the navy. If there were more reinforcement. Chapter 275 The Strongest Combat Power. Chen, what you said is, Zanjiuo. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Before Zanjiuo finished speaking, Garp suddenly shouted loudly, and Chen showed a hint of sneer at this time. Then he quickly came to a vice admiral not far away from him, and his hands almost left her as a agile shadow, and threw the vice admiral towards Zanjiuo's fist. Zanjiuo reacted almost instantly, but the extremely powerful inertia made him unable to stop. Stop, Zanjiuo. Just when he slammed his palm, Garp's loud shout finally came over, and Zanjiuo could only watch his huge golden hand slap the Vice Admiral Huashioshin of the Navy headquarters. Boom. The deafening sound, the impact of Buddha, the powerful force completely erupted. Zanjiuo's eyes were bloodshot, but he couldn't stop. Huashioshin, who had no defense at all, completely withstood the blow. His eyes instantly turned white, blood flowed from his 7 orifices, and he fell backwards directly. No one could have imagined that the first opponent that Marshal Sengoku solved was not any one of the Wanji pirates, but a vice admiral of his own marine headquarters. Marshal Sengoku's Buddha strike was a powerful attack that could make Blackbird, who had obtained the dark fruit, bleed from all 7 orifices. And now he was dealing with a defenseless Huashioshin. This attack completely smashed down, and Huashioshin would definitely not be better, even if he could be cured. Whether he could still serve as a vice admiral of the marine headquarters and the main combat power in the future, that would depend on his fate. But Chen felt that his fate was not that good. At this moment, looking at Huashioshin who had fallen, and was almost out of breath, Sengoku's face had completely changed. He clenched his fists, veins on his forehead bulged, and anger almost burst out from his eyes. He could tolerate Huashioshin and others being killed by Chen, and even accept the failure of this operation, but he could not accept the navy falling in his hands. Chen, I will tear you into pieces. Zanjiuo was completely furious at this time. He didn't care that there was Orochimaru blocking his way in front of him, and rushed directly towards Chen. At the same time, Garp also had a dark face, and then he left Nami, Robin and others, and rushed towards Chen frantically. He couldn't stand what Chen did to his old friend just now. He didn't have to experience the feeling of killing an excellent Navy general with his own hands, and he could imagine how painful his old friend's heart was now. Moreover, Garp and Zanjiuo were very fast at this moment, and they made such a decision in an instant, and they didn't even care whether Nami, Robin, Orochimaru and others would take this opportunity to attack. So Nami, Robin and Orochimaru were stunned for a while, and it was impossible to catch up. Seeing the 2 top combat forces of the Navy headquarters rushing towards him, Chen didn't dare to be careless at all. In an instant, all his strength was gathered on the long sword in his hand. As he slowly swung the sword, the space around him also trembled slightly. Big Buddha shockwave. Iron Fist. Garp and Sengoku burst out with their full strength at the same time, and at this moment, Chen Tian slowly chopped down with his sword in both hands, with incomparable elegance, and no sword energy burst out, only the cold voice affected the world. Secret, one sword slash, shatter the air. Space prohibited. Garp and Sengoku's movement stopped in midair, countless cracks spread at an alarming speed, and the surrounding space seemed to be shattered by this sword. Crack, crack, crack. The sound of the mirror breaking sounded, and the space in front of Chen Tian began to break like a mirror. After a moment of stagnation, everything in front was swept by countless sword energy. The extremely powerful sword energy and power collided with Garp and Sengoku's attacks in an instant. The deafening roar spread in all directions, and the terrifying aftermath also set off a strong wind. The energy ripples visible to the naked eye spread in all directions along with the strong wind. Bang! Another loud noise was heard, and Chen Tian was blown away, and fell hard 100 meters away, with blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. At this moment, he looked extremely embarrassed, and his clothes were torn by the shockwave. Ahem. After coughing up 2 mouthfuls of blood, Chen Tian supported his body with his long sword, and slowly stood up. Killing those dozens of navy generals before consumed too much of his physical strength. Otherwise, this attack should have been able to block the attacks of Garp and Sengoku. With a flash, Orochimaru, Nami Robin and others blocked in front of Chen Tian, and everyone looked at Sengoku and Garp vigilantly. Prevent them from continuing to chase, and causing Chen Tian to suffer more serious injuries, or even fall here. Captain, you shouldn't be so embarrassed. Orochimaru stared at Sengoku with his eyes fixed, and said at the same time, "Stop talking nonsense here, Orochimaru. These two guys are not easy to deal with, and judging from the current situation, they are not going to give us a chance to leave." Chen Tian's eyes were solemn at this moment. With his strong recovery ability, he slowly recovered his physical strength, but it was not easy to fully recover. Under the current circumstances, it was really difficult to deal with Sengoku and Garp. What was even more troublesome was that the others were about to collapse. The 3 admirals were very proficient in the application of elementalization, and their combat effectiveness was much stronger. These people from the Wanji pirates were now retreating step by step. At this moment, Robin suddenly took a step forward and stood in front of Chen Tian. With her eyes looking straight ahead, she said in a deep voice, "Brother Chen Tian, please leave here. We will stop all the navy, and will not let them threaten you. After you leave here, we will abandon this island and evacuate directly." Although Robin's strength was not bad, at least at the level of a quasi-admiral, she had consumed a lot of physical strength in the previous battle with Garp, and she was also injured. If she really wanted to cover the rear at this moment, let alone evacuate, she was destined to be unable to leave here. In the end, there were only 2 outcomes waiting for Robin. One was to be captured by the navy, imprisoned in the city of Impel Down, or beheaded for public display, and the other was to be killed directly on the island. She knew this very well, but she did not flinch. It was Chen Tian who brought her out of O'Hara, and now it was only natural for her to repay him with her life. At this moment, Chen Tian's eyebrows suddenly jumped, and a light flashed in her eyes. Then she naturally put the long sword back into the scabbard, raised the corners of her mouth slightly, revealed a smile, and said softly, "There is no need to leave, just wait here. Anyway, the navy can't do anything to us." After saying this, Chen Tian just sat there, and the huge power in his body was completely retracted. He just wanted to recover now. Fighting or something, it has nothing to do with him. Seeing such a scene, let alone Nami Robin and Orochimaru, even Sengoku and Garp were stunned. They had no idea what Chen Tian meant. Did he give up resistance? But Chen Tian is not such a person. As one of the 4 emperors, even if he is in a desperate situation, he should not be the kind of person who would give up resistance and surrender. "Chen Tian boy, what tricks are you trying to play?" Garp said with a vigilant look. In his opinion, the opponent's trump cards are endless, and now this attitude may be a conspiracy. No tricks, but this battle is almost over. Chen Tian pointed to the watermelon slices that were running not far from the dock, and chuckled and said, "Our strongest combat force has arrived, so you should go too." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.